Sports Live.
There's been some strange goings on at Arsenal over the last week or so.
More drop points. Arsene Wenger will be absolutely furious.
The brave one is not the one who tackles from behind the player who tries to play football.
With the Red Army in town, interest levels have been raised to critical.
Fletcher! Magnificent! Is there any end to this boy's talent? Oh my goodness me! Ready! Absolutely brilliant! Fantastic!
Might just be the perfect game for Arsenal, this, although there have been mutterings of discontent for the first time in his reign here. It's mostly good news today. Sylvester will play against his old team. The injury worries have cleared. Gallas will start. Theo Walcott is a starter for the Gunners today. And we'll hear from Cesc Fabregas very shortly in defence of his manager. Hostilities have eased in recent seasons. I think Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson have a common enemy to fight these days. Chelsea, of course. He starts. So does he start for Manchester United today. And inevitably, so does he. We are live at the Emirates. Our Barclays Premier League football this Saturday lunchtime is Arsenal against Manchester United. Well, the last time we were here, we enjoyed an absolute classic, that 4-4 against Tottenham. I don't think Arsenal fans shared our enjoyment, and they've been getting a little edgy in the two matches since. Lose today, their reaction will be interesting. Win, and we'll be wondering what all the fuss was about. Jamie Redknapp and Graham Souness are our guests this afternoon. Graham, how big, how important a match is this for Arsenal?
It's a monster of a game for them. You know, what an opportunity to quieten all their critics. But it's come at a bad time for them. You know, Manchester United will think this is the best chance they've had for years to come here and turn them over. You know, there's a hint of maybe Arsenal or some Arsenal players feeling a wee bit sorry for themselves. You know, certain parts of the media trying to heap it on Arsenal, and Arsene's doing his best to resist that and keep everyone's head up. It'll be a very interesting game today. Conversely,
might it just be a good game for Arsenal to have against a team like Manchester United?
Possibly. I think Adebayor is a huge loss for Arsenal today. I have to be honest, I think the way that they play, he's got a physical presence that Arsenal really need. I think he's a dominant presence up there, and without him they haven't got that focal point. Nicholas Bentley will have to try and step into his shoes. No Van Persie today, who's suspended. Yeah, it's a game that they will look at and think, God, what a way to shut everyone up. Let's be honest, because they have took some stick from all quarters.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, of course I do. Some of it rightly so. Because I look at this Arsenal team, and I see an Arsenal team that's full of pure quality. Love watching them. But the game now is not just about when you have the ball. Unfortunately, it's when you haven't got the ball.
But this Arsenal team, Jamie, was 2 or 3 minutes from beating Spurs 4-2. Got an ordinary 0-0 in the Champions League, but they'll qualify anyway. So why the drama?
Because not so much the drama. I just think they've already lost 3 games this year. And I think if you look at the games they've lost to Hull, Fulham and Stoke. No way on earth would Manchester United or Chelsea lose those 3 games this year. Just would not happen. And you have to question, 1, maybe the attitude of the players. 2, have they got enough physical players that can handle that and withstand it when you go to the lesser clubs? You know, I look back when I played against Arsenal a few years ago. They could, if you wanted to play football against them, they would play against you, no problem. If you wanted to have a war, if you wanted to have tackles, they would absolutely love that even more, because they had Vieira, they had Petit, they had Bergkamp. Don't get me wrong, Bergkamp was as nasty as anyone. He loved to tackle. There was a few of them. Sol Campbell, people like that. Sol Campbell's a player that they haven't got someone that's almost covered, you know, covered his, because he was a huge miss for him. The balls used to come in, he'd head it away. Gallas is a terrific player, but William Gallas was better when he had a John Terry or Carvalho next to him, someone that was a dominant presence. He's had to try and, he's mixed and matched plans, different centre halves. You know, I can understand it, you know. but I just feel they have missed that driving force. In central midfield, they've never replaced a Vieira figure. You know, they've never had someone in there that would sit and protect that back four, and I think that's a
Arsene
huge
Wenger
loss.
Graham this week has been protecting his players, hasn't he? There were some wondering why he opened up when he did on the Wednesday, but was that not in response to Thomas Sorensen's jibes on the Monday morning about them being gutless, spineless?
Yeah, I think so. You know what? A manager, especially in the modern game, has to support his players publicly 100%. What he says to them privately in the dressing room is a different thing. I'm sure...
Do you think he had a point, Arsene Wenger? Did Stoke go at them overly aggressively?
Well, you look at the three teams that have beaten them. They weren't teams that have said...
Have a look back. This is last week.
Yeah,
A selection, that's all.
Yeah, that's not a bad tackle for me. The player's entitled to go for that. That's not on it. I mean... He's off the pitch.
I think that's a
He's
bad
off the
tackle.
pitch making a tackle. Here, you know, there's an aggressive challenge there coming up, but both of them go for this aggressively. And in this one, and this is nothing new in the English game, Richard. You know, you could have watched this last year, 10 years ago, 15, 20. It was always the same. That is the English way. And the point I wanted to make, I mean, the three teams have lost to Fulham, Hull, and Stoke. Do you think before the game that their manager's saying to his players, I tell you what today, chaps, let's go out on a jolly game of football with Arsenal today. He's gone out there and said, let's make it a war. The only chance we have is if we can be physical towards them, put a question mark against some of the players who would appear not to like that type of game, and see where it goes. You're not going to start by saying, let's have a game of football, and if we out-football them, we'll then be physical. The first thing they must get right is let's put a doubt in mind. Let's see if they really fancy it today. And that's not going to change, and it never has been different.
Because we're not trying to say that, I mean, I'm sure Graham and myself, Arsene Wenger would be the sort of manager you'd love to play for. There's no two ways about it. But at the moment, the team has to stand up to him, you know, because
But they also require protection, don't they? Within the laws of the game,
listen,
surely.
let's get it straight. Let's get it straight. Arsene Wenger's Arsenal, for many years, had more sending-offs, put more bad tackles in than anyone else at times. They had Adams, Bold, as I said before, Vieira, all those guys. Listen, they've never been a team of angels. So you can't have it both ways. You know, yes, it has turned a little bit on them. And there were a few tackles there. I mean, the Shawcross from Stoke, that was a bad tackle. Let's get it straight. Put Adebayo for a few weeks.
Said the other night that people have been critical of Arsenal because they want them to do well, because we enjoy watching them play. Do you subscribe to that view?
I'm sorry, can you...
Ruud said the other night, people have been getting supportive of Arsenal, if you like, because we enjoy watching them play.
We want them to do well. But they've always done well. Listen, this is not a different Arsenal to what was playing 3 or 4 years ago. This is the same Arsenal, but they just haven't got perhaps the ones that... I think you look at it sometimes, and I'm not sure if Graham will agree, sometimes you look at a match and you go into it, you think, on the pitch here, what will happen? What about even off the pitch? If it goes, sometimes in the tunnel, there's been a lot of incidents going on. When they had Keown, Adams, Vieira, you knew that it went off. Those boys are ready to, you know, have it with you, whatever, on and off the pitch. I look at the Arsenal team at the moment. I don't see there's that many characters in there that you think, if it does happen today, and it's part of football now, whether you like it or not. I'm not trying to condone fighting, but you knew on and off the field they would have it with you, that Arsenal team.
There's a lot being made of they're a young team, but Fergie won a championship with a young team several years ago. They're young, extremely talented players.
Fabregas has played more than 300 games.
Yeah, young, exceptionally talented, great to watch. But I would suggest that he's got, and you don't have to be a big gorilla to get the ball back for your team. I go back to Ronnie Whelan, who I played with. You know, just intercepted everything. You have to have a couple of players in midfield that have a bit of defensive thought in their head, and I think that's a lot they're undoing. Because against Tottenham, you know, how can you lose? How can you draw that game after being so dominant, and then blowing it in the last few minutes of the game? I think they've got a certain naivety about them that only experience will give those players the kind of knowledge they need to win games at Hull and games at Fulham and not dropping daft points here. They're so talented, it's absolutely scary. But right now, for me, the mix is not just there. And whether those young players grasp it next week, today, or in 5 years' time, it'll only be time that tells us that.
These are today's other fixtures. It's Hull against Bolton, Liverpool play West Brom, Sunderland meet Portsmouth, West Ham play Everton, and it's Wigan against Stoke. Football First tonight at 8:25 on Sky Sports 1. Bottom looks like that. Spurs, how on earth did that happen? Back on the bottom, 9 points from 11 and in touch. West Brom 19th, Bolton 18th. Just outside, Wigan, Fulham, Sunderland, 1 win from 6. Newcastle, 2 straight wins for them. Blackburn, Stoke and West Ham. Top half, City, Pompey, Middlesbrough, Everton, Hull, Villa. Top four, Arsenal and Manchester United. So this today, a battle for top dog. Not top of the league, because neither can take over. Liverpool and Chelsea lead with their 26 points. Victory through harmony, that means. A special Arsenal jersey today, complete with Poppy, ahead of Remembrance Sunday. 5 changes for the Gunners, but the good news from their point of view, most of the injured outs have cleared. Almunia returns in goal after illness. Sagna returns at right fullback. Gallas and Silvestre play together at the centre of the defence. Theo Walcott plays wide right. Nicholas Bentner up top. No Adebayor and no Van Persie, of course, who's suspended after getting sent off last week at Stoke. Manchester United, 7 changes from midweek at Celtic, but you would have expected that. Just the one change from the side that beat Hull. Park comes in place of Nani. Berbatov and Rooney together up top. Let's get a quick word with Andy Gray, who's been listening to that debate here with Jamie and Graham. Where do you stand on this, Andy?
Enjoyed it, first and foremost, what the lads were saying. It's just incredible that we're 11 games into this season only, and already the lads are having such a huge debate about Arsene Wenger's style and Arsenal's way of playing football, whether it should change, whether it's good enough, whether this, that, the other. It's just fascinating. I'm a little surprised at all the fuss around Arsenal. I mean, from my recollection, apart from, I know that they've lost a couple of games, Fulham, and they lost against Hull here. We're going to get surprises in this league. It's what keeps us coming back year after year, and the fact that, you know, the big teams can lose against the smaller clubs and the less successful clubs. But I think, apart from, I agree with Graham, apart from sort of 3 or 4 minutes, mad minutes at the end of the Tottenham game, and a really poor result, I have to say. I think it's the Stoke result that's really shaken up the Arsenal fans and their belief that they can still win this title. Apart from that, you know, they've had a pretty good start to the season. Pretty good, not as good as last year, but then it would be hard to have had as good a start as they did last year.
What do you expect this afternoon?
Well, I think from Arsene Wenger, I think it's important for them that, you know, they've got their goalkeeper, a back four, and certainly on a quartet of midfield players, and Walcott, Denilson, Fabregas and Nasri, that would have been their first choice. So those 9 players that are playing from one right through to the midfield, Richard, would probably be the first choice that Arsene Wenger would pick. They are missing, and I agree with Jamie, Adebayor's absence is a huge blow to Arsenal. They don't have another one like him. Bentner threatens at times, he sparkles at times, but is he going to do it consistently? It's a wonderful chance for the young lad to prove what he believes. He believes he's a great player. Now's a wonderful chance for Nicholas Bentner to prove that. But they are short up top. But I think if Arsenal can keep this tight, and it's never a game with a lot of goals in it, then they'll fancy they might be able to nick one. I think United, on the other hand, will come here and really fancy turning Arsenal over and really making a statement to everyone else. He's made some changes, Sir Alex, from Wednesday night against Celtic, but no surprising changes. The team's stronger, it looks powerful, and Arsenal are going to have to be at their best if they're going to get something. And that's not me usually saying that when we're watching them at their home ground. Arsenal,
it's Jamie over here struggling with a cold, I think. That's the noise you can hear. We'll be back with you shortly, Andy. You all right?
Good, mate.
It's Arsenal and Manchester United at the Emirates live this Saturday lunchtime. Arsenal win, they go to within 3 points of the leaders. As we've said, it's for top dog today, not top of the league. Later we'll hear from Dimitar Berbatov, and on the way, Cesc Fabregas defending Arsene Wenger.
I and the team believe really in the manager. We know that he believed a lot in us, and we have to pay him back for what he's done for us and die in the pitch for him.
I'm a friendly person, no? I don't speak much, but I make no problems except when somebody's asking for them.
Terrific Saturday lunchtime ahead of us. Graham Souness and Jamie Redknapp are our guests. It's Arsenal against Manchester United. Arsenal's last 2 in the league drew here 4-4, lost at Stoke. 1 or 2 of their supporters are a little unsettled at the moment. Jeff Shreves has more.
In his 12 years with the Gunners, Arsene Wenger hasn't just lifted an impressive amount of silverware, he's also entirely transformed the culture of the club, both on and off the pitch. However, having not won a trophy in the last 3 seasons has led to a small section of fans starting to wonder as to whether or not he is still the right man for the job.
Oh, I think this is too much, come on. What has the boss done for this club in the last 12 years? It's unbelievable, you know, and you know, I don't think Arsenal fans are against the manager, and this would be so unfair from them, you know, because he has given to the club so much, you know, so much as well all around the world, not just in England and winning trophies in England, all around the world. Everyone admires the way Arsenal play, and if we play well, it's because the manager knows how to make us play well.
Wenger's faith in this current crop of players isn't just a one-way thing.
I and the team believe really in the manager. We know that he believed a lot in us, and we have to pay him back for what he's done for us and die in the pitch for him as well, because in difficult moments he has been there for us and we have to be there for him as well.
The current trophyless run has left fans suffering, but they aren't the only ones.
It's frustrating for me. I've been playing for this team, you know, for the last years, and I have only won an FA Cup, but it's true that in the other hand we have experienced, you know, things like Champions League final that never happened in this club before. Last year with a really young side we nearly win the league, and of course for the foot I can understand the fans, you know, in terms of they want trophies.
Fabregas fervently believes that patience is the key, and given time this squad will deliver.
You will have, you know, Theo Walcott for England and for a world-class player, you know, and things like Denilson for Brazil, he's only 20, Niklas Bendtner, Carlos Vela, so many players that in 3 or 4 years they will be world-class players, you know.
But back to the present. A host of top clubs want him, so does Fabregas' commitment to the Gunners remain absolute?
During the last years there's been so many things said about me, so many lies sometimes, and so many things, you know, about me, that, and I have always sticked, you know, to the manager face, to this club, to these fans, and all I want to do is just win trophies with this club, and I will fight for everything.
So you're not thinking, if we don't win a trophy this year or maybe next time, off?
I don't think like that. I think about the present. I never think about the future. I signed my long-term contract for Arsenal, and I think that says everything. I have always fight for this shirt. I have always, you know, believed in everything, and I always gave my 100%, and I will do it for the rest of my time at Arsenal.
Two midfield players with us this afternoon, Jamie Redknapp and Graham Souness. Is a young man you admire enormously, Jamie, isn't he?
Yes.
Fabregas. Why?
Top class, I mean, because his understanding of the game, he plays, his head is almost always on a swivel. He knows where everybody on the pitch is. Every time the ball comes to him, he's got a picture. Where's this ball going to go next? You never see him, you know, playing against him. It was so difficult to close down. Every time you went near him, he could pop it off. If you sat off him, he'd take a touch. He just understood the game so well, understood the dimensions of a pitch, when he had time to play, when he could play a first-time ball, can hit killer balls. Last year he scored 11 goals in his first 16 games. This year he's only got 1 already. Graham and I were just talking, and I think that's a consequence of not having a defensive midfield player
missing
with him.
Flamini,
Missing Flamini, yeah.
Gilberto and Flamini go, who are two defensive midfield players. Okay, Gilberto, maybe his time was up, maybe his legs weren't what they were, but certainly a Flamini or a sitting midfield player is what, for me, because that's where I played, maybe I put too much importance on that position, but if you've got a sitting midfield player that does the job properly, you don't have to be an aggressive tackling type. You can be someone who intercepts things and reads the game. It protects your back four. Your back four are never exposed. They never have to step out of position. If they don't have to step out of position, your goalkeeper's a lot happier.
He knew that he could go on, didn't he? He knew that he could arrive in the box because he had someone there that was going to protect him. You know, every time we went, he had Flamini's energy, Flamini's levels, and I know it's easy to say, and we can all complain about what's happened and why players have gone. There was no real reason for Flamini to leave this football club. It could only have been finances, really.
See,
and they perhaps should have gone, let's keep him.
Liverpool have got 2. Liverpool have got 2 that don't go anywhere.
They do. Well, look, what about Chelsea with Mikel? You know, Manchester United, they always have Carrick or Hargreaves there.
Makelele before that. But Liverpool now operate with Mascherano and Xavi Alonso, who never go in front of the ball, rarely go in front of the ball. And they are a tight outfit. They're suited to going away, not playing the kind of football Arsenal play or Manchester United play, but they're suited to go away in big games when teams go after them to pick them off. When they're at home, they find it more difficult because they don't chase a game very well. But this team are crying out for me, for a sitting midfield player that can sniff out the danger.
Would you rather watch Liverpool or Arsenal play?
As an ex-Liverpool, put me on the spot or what? I want to see Liverpool, but I'd have to say Arsenal.
I mean,
I think most people would.
Yeah. But if you look at the player, there's so much importance on that young man. He's 21 years of age. They rely on him so heavily, almost too much now, because they look at him and think, well, what are you going to do for us today, Fabregas? Cesc, you know, we're reliant on you so much. And I think that's where maybe in the summer he could have maybe gone and got a Marco Senna from Villarreal. Yes, he might have been 20, I think he's 31, something like that. Might have just done a job for a year. And I just think that might have been a player they could have looked at.
Did not fancy Alonso? I thought you fancied Alonso.
That nearly happened, didn't it?
But I think for me, that's what they're crying out for. I can't emphasise how good this team are, but they're getting mugged off, and it must be, and not must be, it is frustrating the life out of the manager. Have you ever seen a manager so animated, jumping up and down, throwing bottles of water to the floor? It will be costing them sleepless nights, because on one side he sees his team playing that, as a manager, you can only dream about. And the other side, you get mugged off.
Not getting the rewards, are they? They're not getting the rewards.
You know, how can you only get a point out of that game? Simply because, as a central midfield player, with a bit of defensive nonce going on, you would have pulled them in, the other midfield players, and said, no, try and get through us. We're happy to win 4-3. We're happy to win 4-2. Instead of that, they're looking for a fifth goal. Naivety.
Here is the manager with Geoff Shreeves.
Arsene, Gallas, Silvestre and Walker all play. Is any risk attached?
There is some. Maybe the biggest risk is the hamstring of Gallas, because he hasn't practiced a lot, but normally, medically, he should be all right.
What about Silvestre? He's got a broken nose. If he gets a whack on that...
If he gets a whack on that, it is still a broken nose, you know, and not more. And maybe you will have to repair it by surgery, but he feels perfectly all right to play.
It's not the team you would have chosen had you had everybody available, so will you adapt the way you play?
We have I believe that today, no matter who plays, what is most important is that we go for it for 90 minutes, relentless, with a great united spirit, and we impose ourselves in the game, and that is the most important.
Is that the sense in the dressing room right now? Is that what you believe?
We are highly determined, but and I'm confident we'll show that on the pitch.
A win today, how much would that lift a bit of the gloom that's been around the place?
Well, it's not as much gloom as you can read in the newspapers, you know, but of course we want to win every single game, and when you don't do that, we are really disappointed. But on the other hand, we know that we have the needed qualities to redress that, and that a successful season is as well to overcome disappointment.
Thank you, Arsene.
Thank you.
Arsenal and Manchester United are live Barclays Premier League football. United recall Berbatov to their starting lineup today. Their moody magician tells us what makes him tick when we come back. Before we go any further, Sir Alex Ferguson with Geoff Shreeves.
Sir Alex, how strong do you think that Arsenal team is?
I think it's a strong team. Yeah, I think that what they've done is with putting Diaby in the midfield, or maybe up front up front, makes it difficult for them to break down.
You've only come away from here with disappointment. How much does that contribute to your desire to succeed today?
Well, I think we've been the victim of our own mistakes in the last 2 years, last-minute goals, and in both occasions we're throwing in their corner, but the corner of the flag, the Arsenal end, and we've given them away. So hopefully we don't cut our throat that way. But even more, hopefully we're in front at that stage. But you know, it's an Arsenal-Manchester United game, and I think it's too much putting the press about Arsenal missing players.
Do you think these games have changed in a way? Maybe not as physical, not as confrontational? Have the two clubs changed their style, perhaps?
I think that you're going to get that in different periods of the history of Manchester United and Arsenal, because the competition and the competitive nature has been going for a long time. You know, since I've come down to the club, when George was the coach, and we were trying to make our way there, and Arsenal were to wrest the championship from Liverpool at the time, if you remember, and they won 2 championships in a row. Then we were chasing that, and we got to that position, and ever since then it's been really competitive. But you different types of teams then, you know, that famous back four of Arsenal, very competitive players, very aggressive players, and Manchester United players like Cantona and Hughes and Robson and Keane and players like that, and Ince. So it changes naturally because you don't have all these players replicas every year, every different periods. And the teams that are representing both clubs now are different types.
Yeah, it's not as combustible, is it? And to the extent, I mean, even you and Arsene Wenger seem quite friendly now.
Where the ball gets kicked off.
Sir Alex, thanks for your time. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Well done.
He's moody, magnificent and misunderstood. Not Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously. Dimitar Berbatov.
If you ask some of the guys around here, they say I'm a quiet guy. I don't talk much. You know, I prefer to just to listen, to watch. You know, I've been that all my life. You know, I was the same at Tottenham. But it's my nature. You know, outside the pitch, I just like to be left alone and to have my own time with my friends. And I think that's what everybody wants. Of course, you have different people who seek the attention, but everybody's different. I'm a friendly person, I don't speak much, but I make no problems except when somebody's asking for them. So.
Okay, let me ask you then. Even when you score goals, you don't look particularly happy, are you?
No. This is a misunderstanding because, for example, the goal I scored against Oborg, I didn't celebrate because I was angry before that. I missed 100% chance, and I was like thinking to myself, okay, I don't want to say what I was thinking because it is rude, but I was not particularly happy with myself because I play here, I must score, and that's why I didn't celebrate. It was like, you finally score, you big, but normally I'm really happy when I score, even if I don't show it. When I go in the locker room at home, I'm cheering inside.
The conspiracy theory can get even bigger. There are some say, well, he's trying to be like Cantona, moody, magnificent.
No, I am myself. I don't want to be compared to anybody else, especially to the legends like Cantona, And everybody can think whatever they want, In the end, it's important what my boss is thinking for me.
Your style, if I can say so, you are very, very elegant as a player, and you don't appear to run around as much of your colleagues. Is that true?
I don't know, everybody have a style of playing. My style is different to let's say, I don't know, to Rooney or Tevez, to the other players. And I have my own game, and I try to play it on the field. But with my game, I try to help my teammates as well and my team. And I don't play for myself; I play for the team. And if, like I said before, the boss is happy with that, I am happy as well. Like boss says every time, enjoyment and win games. And when you win games, then you win trophies.
What's the best part of being a Manchester United footballer?
Being Manchester United footballer. Where you're playing, I play for Manchester United, and it's telling you enough. I see Ryan Giggs or Paul Scholes or Gary Neville, they're here their whole life, And now I'm here. I don't want to go anywhere.
He is a magician, but it's not an illusion. He doesn't run around a lot. But Graham Souness, do you have to?
Well, that term "busy fool" comes into mind. There's that doesn't just apply to football. There's people who play football, who run around, chase shadows, and when you analyse what their input has been on the game after 90 minutes, it ain't a great deal. He is an absolute star for me. He's someone I would pay to watch. I think. He's got magic in his feet. He sees a great picture. He will be criticised for not hunting down fullbacks when they're in possession and doing his bit for the team. He has to really be scoring goals all the time. Because there will be these critics would get on his back because he's saying, well, if he's not scoring goals, what's he doing for the team?
I think big goals as well. I mean, that's what he
he's
wants
a Man
to be.
United player.
Yeah, of course he is. I mean, the game stands still when it comes to him, but for him to be compared to the Cantonas of this world and have that impact, he has to score the goals in the big games. He scored 1 Premier League goal this year. That was against West Brom. They need him to score the goals against the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Liverpools of this world for him to gain icon status at this club.
Well, we've got harmony breaking out all over North London at the moment. Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson sharing a cup of tea, but we can top that. Take this, Jeff Shreves.
Robbie, Gary, we've just seen Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson being very friendly. You two as well. Seems like it's happening all over the stadium.
Well, we haven't spoke a word to each other yet. We don't know how this is going to go.
Could go either way, this, mate. Yeah.
What about the game itself? What brings you? Because neither of you are fans of these teams, are you?
Well, actually, I do have to say that I do call Man United Secret Vale. Because when you've supported Port Vale for as long as I have, it's nice to have a team that wins every now and again. So they are my fantasy team. I'm a Vale fan, but I like seeing Man United do well.
Gary, what brings you?
Liverpool. So I want to just make sure they both draw, really, so we stay up the top there.
What are we expecting today?
I think Man U will win today. I think there's too many injuries in Arsenal. But yeah, I think both teams have yet to hit form, really, but we'll see. Should be a good day.
Robbie, what about you?
Well, I've had a few bets. I've had 2-2, and I've also had 2-1 with Berbatov scoring last. With it being a Tottenham player, I think it's written that he'll... Yeah. Ex-Tottenham player, I think it's written that he'll probably get net one today.
OK, we'll see who collects. Enjoy the day. Thanks for your time, fellas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. Take that. Extraordinary. See those two together, isn't it?
Quality, yeah. Good football fans. Like, come watch a great game of football. Why not?
Mate of yours, isn't he, Robbie?
Yeah, I've met Robbie a few times. Good lad. Really good. Good to see him back in the country. You know, maybe he might be touring with those guys soon. You know, you're a big Take That fan, Graham, aren't you?
I'll be going to watch them in Manchester.
Yeah?
June, I think, in Manchester, yeah.
Did he not introduce you to somebody very special in your life?
I did tell you to keep that quiet.
You know he's going to keep it secret.
He's a weasel, isn't he? He can't help himself. You're not telling him secrets.
I think Roy Keane might be right.
Roy Keane was right.
Did he not introduce you to your wife, just to complete the story?
Yeah. He did, yeah. So a few years ago now. So I've got to thank him, I suppose, for two kids coming up.
Yeah, and we wish you and Louise, of course, all the very best with that. Good luck with that. Let's get back to the football, shall we?
Why not? There is a big game going on here now, you know.
It's Arsenal and Manchester United, the two most successful teams in Premier League history.
Roy Keane gets a second. Bartes straight to Henry. Ronaldo, it must be, it is. My goodness me, what a turnaround here. Henry, what a goal. Ronaldo. Glazer's given it.
You can look all the way back through the history books and check out the form, but it really doesn't mean a great deal on a day like this. It's Arsenal against Manchester United. Not for the top of the league, but for top dog here today. There we are. And now they are talking to each other, not us. And here's another happy couple, Andy Gray and Rob Hawthorne.
Happy for a few minutes at least. Well, apart from Eboué and Adebayor, who were never likely to play, Arsene Wenger asks all of his major fitness doubts to come through the full 90 minutes here, from Manuel Almunia, who's overcome illness, to three of the back four, where Sagna, Gallas and Silvestre have all been injured. Silvestre has recovered to face his old club for the first time. Theo Walcott is risked after the shoulder injury he sustained in that contentious game at Stoke. And Nicholas Bentner is the sole striker. He scored against Liverpool when he played that lone role here back in April. Kolo Touré finds himself on a youthful bench containing three teenagers: Aaron Ramsey, who rejected United to move here, Carlos Vela and 16-year-old Jack Wilshere.
Well, Arsene Wenger will be happy that this is a stronger looking Arsenal than it might have been 48 hours ago. That back four is pretty strong. Huge emphasis on Gallas and Silvestre's experience and leadership qualities, if you like. A word that's trotted around here a lot. Where are the leaders? Well, certainly in Gallas and Silvestre should have two at the back. Got wonderful width from this quartet of players in Sagna, Walcott, Clichy and Nasri. I mean, there is a real genuine threat coming down either side from Arsenal. The lads have talked about the qualities of Cesc Fabregas and little Danielson in there. Diaby's a one for me. I mean, he's got a job where he's really got to supplement that quartet of midfield players defensively, but will be the one who I think is the quickest to get to Nicklas Bendtner when he definitely will need the support when the ball's played into him.
There are 7 changes to the Manchester United team that drew in Glasgow, with Edwin van der Sar back in goal. Gary Neville, a veteran of these clashes, returns in one fullback role, and Patrice Evra is back in the other. Anderson plays his 50th game for United in a team that welcomes back Ji-sung Park and in which Cristiano Ronaldo seeks his 100th goal for United. Wayne Rooney is on 99 in his career. More worryingly, he's a booking away from a ban. His pairing with Dimitar Berbatov leaves Carlos Tevez on a strong-looking bench, all but one of them full internationals.
There'll be no surprises in the system we see here, I wouldn't think. Ji-sung Park, you've talked about it, will just drop into that left-hand side, will work his socks off as he does. He tucks in quite a lot in that left side, but don't worry about that, because Evra will come flying past him anytime he can. So that pretty much works quite well there. Berbatov and Rooney, no surprise to see them back after Wednesday. Rested for the first half, asked to do a bit in the second half, but fresh and ready to go today. It's just a powerful, powerful side, and I just get the feeling, listening to them, they fancy it today.
Fancying it won't take it to the levels of complacency for Manchester United, because for all of the apparent problems that Arsenal have, Gary Neville knows as well as anyone that they are never to be taken too lightly. Well, peace has broken out even in the tunnel these days, where a lot of the mind games used to take place in those feisty clashes of old. But an Arsenal-Manchester United clash is always one in which the stakes are high and in which there is a real desire to win. And there are fierce competitors in both lines. Arsenal and Manchester United top the Premier League history charts, but not the current ones, and that hurts.
Beautifully observed, and you can understand the spontaneous applause as well. It's Arsenal against Manchester United, live Premier League football here on Sky Sports. Our commentators, Andy Gray and Rob Hawthorne.
And Mikel Silvestre lines up against his old club for the first time, having scored for both sides in this fixture, an own goal and a goal for Manchester United in successive Community Shields. William Gallas scored at both ends of the same fixture. The 2-2 draw between the sides here. This game against any of the other members of the so-called Big Four. But after this, United will have played all of their main rivals away from home after losing at Liverpool and drawing at Chelsea. And here is Gary Neville. Rio Ferdinand, who turned 30 yesterday, and now Nemanja Vidic. Here's Cristiano Ronaldo, getting tight to him already.
That'll be an extraordinary battle, that. Clichy is one of the quickest full-backs around. Be interested to see what his philosophy is today, Gaël Clichy. Not worried about wingers normally. Will run past them, leave them in his quest to get forward. But he does that today, and he leaves one of the world's best footballers
Clichy is one of those who's been looking at his own form after the hiccup that Arsenal have suffered lately, particularly after the draw with Spurs here. That's a short back pass that's collected by Almunia.
That's a free kick.
And it's given.
That is a free kick. Well, not just one mistake, but two here. On his weaker foot, the right, he just makes a complete mess of this, and then instead of just clearing it, Almunia, for some reason, goes to ground, decides to catch the thing. Well, nerves there, I see it. Two very, very experienced footballers showing real nerves in the early part of this game.
Well, Silvestre against his old club, and Manuel Almunia, whose form has also been suspected late, giving Manchester United an early invitation to add to Arsenal's problems here.
Well, these are always difficult. I mean, people always say it's a great opportunity, but we always know the closer you get to goal, the more difficult it is. You just wonder what they might have in store. Wall's been dragged right back to the 6-yard box. That wall will need to be rock solid. Goalkeeper right behind it because of the angle. Ronaldo's come to the edge of the box. They're going to have to shift it.
Well, Anderson, who's never scored for Manchester United, closest to Rooney, and it's Anderson who hits it against the wall. Carrick strikes the follow-up, and it's wide.
Well, neither struck either of those attempts very well, but Carrick's is the one as he hits it into the ground and it just skips past the post. And Ji-sung Park, if he gets any touch in that at all, he might just direct it. Watch Park, just a fraction away from it, but any touch. The goalkeeper committed. United would have had an early lead.
Well, Arsenal will be hoping that that is not a sign of things to come. A very nervous beginning from the team who've been under siege and are hoping to turn that siege mentality to their advantage here today against one of their biggest rivals. Here's Vidic. Walcott putting the pressure on him, and now getting Arsenal on the front foot after that shocker of a start.
Some great battles, isn't there? I talked about Clichy, Ronaldo. I think Walcott and Evra is another one.
Yes, Evra and Clichy rivals for the spot in the French international team. There's Nasri. Now Cesc Fabregas. Nasri with a touch to Diaby. Arsenal just looking for a period in which they can steady themselves, but here's Ronaldo. Clichy got his body in the way. And Ronaldo wins the free kick.
I tell you, it's a fabulous day for football. You know, it's absolutely pelting it down with rain. Pitch will be as slick as you like. Two teams that love to slip this ball about quickly in normal circumstances. Well, with the pitch the way it is now, it will be sliding across the surface even quicker, the ball.
It's a pitch that's always admired, and the conditions certainly favourable for the game. Neville, blocked by Danielson. Nasri keeps it in, only Bentner up ahead of him. Fabregas coming from behind. Anderson with a challenge. Trying to break free of Samir Nasri here. Going heavily at Carrick. Here's Vidic. Now Ferdinand. This is Vidic.
Well, you normally expect, you know, since Berbatov's gone to United, you normally expect Wayne Rooney to drop in and get involved, but so often it's Berbatov who drops so deep off the front to get involved in the link-up play, leaving Rooney just where he is, right in contact with the two centre-backs.
Having got that ball from Ronaldo, Rooney couldn't hold on to it. Another nervous ball that Fabregas rescues to find Clichy. Dicing with danger at times in their defensive third at the moment, Arsenal. Here's Gallas looking to unleash Theo Walcott. Ferdinand. Gave Neville a bit of work to do, which he managed. Here's Berbatov. That interchanging from United evident now. Berbatov has stayed out on the right, and Rooney has Ronaldo rather has come more central. Here's Park looking for Evra.
We get a free kick there. Didn't really do much wrong, but just cut across his line.
Already prowling the touchline, Arsene Wenger. He and Sir Alex Ferguson, the two longest-serving managers in the Premier League, are well versed in the arts of this particular battle.
Bit unlucky there. That flick, Bentner. A little too wet and too early for Sir Alex to be getting out there, I think.
Vidic. Berbatov just tried to stroke it into the path of Park. Denilson was there though. This is Bakary Sagna. Now Diaby. Fabregas. Clichy making the run out to his left. Too much of it though shown to Michael Carrick. Clichy there before Rooney could get there. Here's Sagna. Diaby. Sagna again. Denilson. Here's Fabregas. Bentner. Nasri. Fabregas again. Little touch from Diaby. Cut out though by Ferdinand. And this is Anderson.
A little tight, that's all. See a lot of that today, I think. Around the edge of the box, little give and goes, trying to work them. United the same.
Neville managing to release Ronaldo in behind Clichy. It's come back to Ji-sung Park, who lets it run. Rooney's free! And Berbatov is there, but the flag's up.
Wow. What a bit of play that was between Ronaldo and Gary Neville on the far side. Really, really good football in the build-up here. A little give and go. And such awareness from Park. Knows Rooney's behind him, just steps over it. And Berbatov's about a yard offside. Of course, Rooney smashes that in, the flag stays down. And a really good start from Manchester United, the opening 8 or 9 minutes of this match.
Well, they've only visited the Emirates twice, United, but they haven't won. They've managed to lead 3 times and ended up drawing 1 and losing 1. So a good start, a common theme for United, and they've won another free kick here from Denilson's challenge on Dimitar Berbatov.
And in trots Cristiano Ronaldo. I think this is a pretty good distance for him. Enough distance to smash it as hard as he likes and get it up and down. And the conditions, well, we've already seen Almunia spill one, Berbatov disallowed. The difficulty in holding on to this greasy ball, it moves a lot. So I guess edge of the box players will be, as soon as he hits this, flying in on the goalkeeper in case he spills it. I know I would be.
Anderson, Park and Berbatov are all waiting at the edge of the area for just such an eventuality, and Rooney not too far away either. Here comes Ronaldo!
Well, not one of his best. Nowhere near it. He'll just be a little disappointed he hasn't worked the goalkeeper.
Looking to become the 3rd player in the current squad after Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes to reach the 100 goals for Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo. And the heaviness of the rain has forced Sir Alex Ferguson to turn into a hoodie. Here's Nemanja Vidic. Here's Clichy. Nasri. It's Clichy's ball across. Bender's there!
What a ball. And what a chance. If this isn't too high for Bendtner, then I think he should score. It's an absolute dream of a ball. It might just be a fraction high for him. Doesn't quite get up to the middle of the ball. It's a magnificent cross from Gaël Clichy. I think 6 inches lower. I think he might have scored. He certainly might have worked Van der Sar.
Away goes Ronaldo. There's one United a corner. It's been a vibrant start this, with chances now for both sides.
We often talk about if they have a genuine Achilles heel. Arsenal, it's at set plays, corners, free kicks coming from wide areas, the ability to deal with them effectively enough.
Anderson's corner. Vidic trying to knock it back. Rooney.
Well, he's disappointed because he knows that for all his quality, that is a chance, because it sits there beautifully, no pace on it, sat softly for him, and that's why he's disappointed.
Seems to be harsh to judge that as a good chance, but when you've seen what Rooney's done before, that's why you expect more, isn't it?
Well, that dropping down, I would guess that 8 times out of 10 he'd work the goalkeeper. That drops down normally. It was a really good start to this game.
Given away by Ferdinand to Diaby. And here's Bendtner, who's had Arsenal's clearest opening so far. He's gone out to the left of Nasri here. Here is Bendtner. Challenged by Gary Neville. This is Clichy. Denilson.
Lovely.
Gets it back from Diaby. Neat build-up this from Arsenal. Is it going to lead them to their goal? Nasri looking to shrug off Neville. Oh! Oh, that would have been a wonderful team goal had it come off.
Well, I'm not so sure how Bendtner misses this. I don't know if he takes his eye off it. Does it go too high? As he rises there, he just seems... What a chance! I mean, that is a Nicklas Bendtner chance. First one, yeah, would excuse him for missing a little high, I thought. But that one, he's just missed the flight of the ball.
Well, Diaby was the player in his way, whether he just might have distracted him. Evra, Carrick, Patrice Evra, now Rooney. This is Walcott. Rooney coming back to help out Vidic and caught the man. Is this going to be the booking that tips him over the edge, or will he get away with a warning?
You know, it's a daft free kick, but it's a credit to him because he lost the ball. He got tripped there as he's coming back, but he still wants to get the ball back for his team. Makes a mistake there, but it's only his desire to rectify his mistake.
Well, Howard Webb has given him a chance with just the talking to, but presumably that's a last warning for a man who missed the Stoke game if he's booked. It's Fabregas who takes the kick. Bendtner showing interest in it, but it didn't quite reach him. And punched only to Diaby! Well, Van der Sar will have been disappointed, but that clearance only landed at his feet. Here's Sagna. Carrick away. Fabregas in towards Gallas and cleared by Ferdinand.
Oh, you can't take your eyes off this, I tell you. This has been a great 15 minutes. Well, not for the first time this season, Rob, I have to say, Edwin van der Sar really didn't deal with that in the way that a top goalkeeper should have done. I can think of a couple of goals at least have conceded because of his poor punching, dealing with the ball like that. And a really poor punch from him.
Well, there was a costly mistake for him that led to an own goal in United's only defeat of the season against another of the big four, Liverpool.
I mean, he comes and gets it, but, you know, There's not a lot of power in the ball. Why can't he catch it? That's what I always ask goalkeepers. I mean, Diaby's a little unlucky. There's a lot of players between him and goal, and he just can't find the gap. Not the best shot you'll ever see. But when the ball's just drifting like that, I know it's wet. You know, they've got these gloves on that are, you know, catch anything, like fly paper. I thought he might have just taken that out the air and caught it.
Here's Fabregas. Now Diaby. Nasri. Too much for Diaby to collect. Samir Nasri, who's playing in this fixture for the first time.
Well, it seems Arsenal definitely settled now. A little nervy. A couple of early mistakes, but they've settled into that rhythmic passing game that they have.
Well, it's always a fascinating spectacle when these Premier League heavyweights slug it out, and certainly so far this one has been no exception. It's one in which Arsenal haven't had a lot of joy since Sylvain Wiltord's title clincher back at Old Trafford in 2002. They've won only 2 of the 12 Premier League meetings since. Here's Berbatov. Anderson. Evra. Anderson, Berbatov has set off on a run. It was a little behind him. Dimitar Berbatov into the path of Ronaldo. Brilliant! Rooney! Only lacking the finish.
I don't know what he tried, Wayne. This is absolutely top-class football. Anderson dominating Fabregas, and then it's all about awareness of players. Everyone thinks Ronaldo's pulling the trigger, but all he does is see Rooney. And I don't know, just gets underneath it. It comes up a little. I don't know whether the players in front of him just left him a little uncertain about what he was going to do. But that was very unlike Wayne Rooney. Deserved a goal, the move. 7 attempts at the start of this game. There's the problem.
Everything but the goal. Two teams who are pleasing on the eye, and so far we've seen very constructive moves from both, with only the finish lacking. Here's Anderson. Beyond the reach of Wayne Rooney on this occasion. Rooney, who scored 6 of his 99 career goals against Arsenal, including his first in the Premier League, when he burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old with Everton. Here's Diaby. Evra.
Little wrong choice there. Manchester United are right on the halfway line. And Walcott knew that, and he just tried to spin in behind Nemanja Vidic.
There's Carrick. Now Ferdinand. Now Park. This is Ronaldo. Taking on Clichy. Rooney looks to get there. Clichy. Well, he'd made the run from deep as Bentner was coming towards Clichy.
No, no idea where Bentner was going. Just completely squeezed the space. Didn't give Clichy much then after that.
There's Sagna. Now Walcott. Sagna looking for the return ball from Diaby. Vidic was across there though.
Listen, Alex Ferguson really does like Park's industry in a game like this, you know. It's amazing how many big games. Europe, he does it a lot, plays them. He's got fantastic energy levels, the little Korean.
Well, he said, didn't he, it was one of the toughest decisions of his career to leave him out of the squad for the final.
Yeah.
Evra's given away the free kick.
Yeah, once the ball gets past Evra, he's always going to get a free kick given against him. A little bit of zonal marking going on there from United. He's got a line of blue shirts across that 6-yard box, ready to attack it. And there you go.
Arsenal, a little bit of good fortune about it. Nasri via Gary Neville, and it was past Van der Sar in a blur.
Well, the way this game has gone for the first quarter as well, it's deserved a goal. And it would be a brave man to say that would be the end of the scoring this afternoon.
Well, they could have been a goal up inside the first couple of minutes, Manchester United, but now they find themselves playing catch-up.
Well, they're not English and European champions because they get nervous about losing the first goal in a big match. Rob, that's a certainty.
Such a good fortune about it, but they'll take that every time. The Arsenal fans now jumping for joy. And the onus on United. Gary Neville. Ferdinand. Here's Vidic. Clichy. Here's Berbatov. It's Gary Neville's ball in.
Well defended by Sagna. Didn't have too many targets. Just Rooney and Park, not the two biggest players United can ever put in the middle of a penalty area for a cross. But Sagna defended it fairly well.
Here's Neville. Ferdinand. Vidic. And Park tripped by Fabregas. Carrick. Here's Evra. Anderson. Ferdinand to Carrick. Clichy. Nasri taking over and Gary Neville coming back to take it away from him.
No, the goal's not Rocks United in it in any way at all. Again, since kick-off, pretty much had the ball. Been very composed about it all.
Berbatov. Rooney pulling it across. Fabregas is there to deal with it.
Yeah, don't panic, son.
He was calm, wasn't he?
But at the moment, Arsenal just can't keep the ball. Need to put a few passes together.
Played through the middle by Fabregas, but Ferdinand across before Walcott can take it in his run.
Yeah, looking for the killer ball there. Might have been better, as I said, keeping it for a little bit. Because at the moment, it's just United are coming at them.
Ferdinand. Here's Ronaldo. Evra. And Evra.
Might be the first yellow card of the day. He's thinking about it, Howard Webb, and he's decided it does warrant that. Somebody was going to be unlucky. It's not any worse, I don't think. It's just where it is, and Evra is away. And there's no argument from Gallas. Like United are pressing, and Arsenal, well, you don't use this often with them, but just for the minute, they just got to batten down the hatches and make sure they don't concede. I mean, since the goal, we've had 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes. And there.
I think that proves your point about them not panicking.
Well, he just might smash this towards the back post. Sometimes never get the feeling that Cristiano Ronaldo dinks them in from wide areas.
Ronaldo, oh!
That's Clichy. How on earth has he not scored? I mean, he's going towards his own goal. It's smack on line. Wow. Wow. How did that stay out?
He got away with it. Corner goes short to Park. Crossed by Anderson. Up goes Ferdinand. Berbatov. Was he pulled down? Referee says no. It's come to Carrick here. Back by Berbatov. And now Arsenal could break. Danielson has one up on either side. And it's Bentner he's looked to play in. Danielson's carried on his run. Clichy. Looking to stand one up for Nasri.
I think Nasri against Ferdinand and Vidic might have been a no contest there.
As it proved. Here's Walcott. Deflects back off Rooney to Fabregas. Oh, and Bentner got a touch. He might have diverted it past Van der Sar.
Well, somebody got a touch, and I'm not sure how. I thought it went through Bentner like you. He's on the stretch a little when he hits this. I don't know why they get the corner there. I didn't think it struck anyone apart from the heel of Nicholas Bentner.
So a corner may be unjustly given.
Might have nicked someone on the edge of the box, of course, but Arsenal needed this. I'll tell you, Rob, they've needed this little bit of pressure.
It's Nasri's corner. And it's cleared by Vidic. Fabregas, here's Diaby. Pulled it back into an area where there was no real Arsenal threat.
It's been a fabulous hour, half hour, sorry. Been a fabulous half hour of football. I think Arsenal's vulnerability at the back has been there for all to see, but they've ridden their luck.
There goes Fabregas, Bentner close to him.
No one can question their ability when they're like this with the ball.
Here's Sanya. Well, now United looking to respond in kind. They've put together some good moves of their own.
Well, there was a half a shout, I guess you would call it. Keep your eye on Danielson and Berbatov. I think it's a soft one if you get it. You've got to be very lucky away from home in a big game like that to get that kind of decision.
Well, the referee's under scrutiny, no surprise that the Premier League's top referee in charge of this one, Howard Webb, for the third consecutive time, the referee of this fixture. Here's Rio Ferdinand. Clearing header by Gallas to Danielson. And now Clichy, who was so lucky not to score an own goal. Clichy. Danielson.
Oh, you know they had Nasri, you know, they dragged Rio Ferdinand out. There was a gap between him and Vidic. Nasri was in there. Had the ball come through there.
Michael Carrick. And Rooney, too much to do. Well, both these teams still trailing in Chelsea's wake, and the leaders at Blackburn tomorrow. It's live on Sky Sports 1 and HD1 from 1 o'clock. Part of a Premier League double bill with Fulham against Newcastle to follow. Sky Sports 1 and HD1 from 3:30. first time that these two have played each other in the league, with neither of them in the top two for 7 years. The last time that was the case, and Arsenal was 7th at the time. They won the game 3-1 at Highbury and went on to win the league. Here's Diaby.
Well played. They do have that confidence in their own ability, don't they? Never panicked, was always under pressure from Michael Carrick, but was happy to back his ability to twist and turn out of trouble.
Sagna. Here's Diaby. Sagna missing the mark with a cross again.
Well, food for thought for the United manager. I actually think he'll be very pleased the way his team have played. They've had 2 or 3 fabulous opportunities to score a goal already in this game. All right, they have conceded one, but they're a little unlucky with the deflection. Took it past the goalkeeper. I think in general terms, Sir Alex would be delighted the way his team has played in the opening half hour of this game.
Here's Park. And Almunia makes the save. Ronaldo's there for the follow-up. Behind Rooney, cleared by Silvestre.
Well, if Cristiano Ronaldo stands this up back post, there is not a Chelsea, not an Arsenal player in sight, and yet Berbatov and I think one other at the back post. It's a lovely save here. Gets a good hand to it, gets it out of the danger area, but just stand it up, dig your foot under it. Look at Berbatov, back post, completely bare, with Gary Neville, I think it is, coming in as well. That was a ball.
Helped on by Berbatov to Rooney.
Looked a bit offside. Wayne Rooney there.
Well, United have got a free kick, and Arsene Wenger is furious about Howard Webb's decision to award that.
Well, Cesc Fabregas feels that he's just poked the ball away and Ronaldo's gone down too easily. You can have a look at this. As he just pokes this away, watch it. Not there, that one there. He thinks he's just poked the ball away, won the ball. Certainly looked at the way the ball went. I just think there's an awfully inviting gap, you know, for Cristiano Ronaldo. Just as we look at it to the right, the worst the referee is walking away from, smash it through that angle. I just think if I was Arsenal, we'd try and get a player in that line somewhere.
Anything possible with Ronaldo. He tried to get it round and low.
He's made a bit of a mess of that one, he knows it. That's the kind of area I was talking about, but not that kind of power, that kind of height.
Denilson. Gallas. Well, almost putting his team under more pressure, has eventually, because Sagna's ball was kept in by Vidic. It's Anderson, now Carrick. Vidic. Gary Neville. Vidic. Here's Ferdinand.
Well, I remember after 15 minutes, Rob, it was, what, 55-45 in Arsenal's favour possession. Look at the way United have worked that back in their favour.
Well, they've had a couple of poor goalkeeping clearances. Van der Sar slightly worse than Almunia's. A testing moment for the goalkeeper, but again they get away with it.
The rain has stopped for a bit. Looks a little brighter out there.
Here's Ferdinand. Now Anderson. Berbatov. Vidic. Ferdinand. Cleared by Clichy. Bentner. And Diaby's onto it with two up to his right. to carry it all the way through, and Carrick, no foul.
Well, I don't understand why Diaby's gone down. My first reaction was free kick. Howard Webb's a lot closer than you and I. Well, he comes chasing back. Goes to drive there. Well, it's a tough one to argue against. Slides in there. Might just have caught his right foot, you know. Now, William Gallas is obviously talking about what we've just been looking at. Yeah, and Evra's just been booked for this. He allowed play to go on here. Comes in a little late on Theo Walcott. Well, that's the kind of pulsating first half we've had.
United finding themselves a goal down, and Sagna meeting the corner. Diaby going for the challenge. Silvestra's there, and Gallas was there too.
Well, almost a 1-2 between the two centre-backs there.
Huge throw from Van der Sar that counted against Ronaldo in the end, as Clichy got there, but that's brilliant.
That is brilliant from Gal Clichy. He's got Ronaldo breathing down his neck. He's last man. Normal people would just have knocked it back to the goalkeeper. He decided, nah, I'll just flick it over Ronaldo's head and get it to the other side.
Great when it comes off. Gallas. Sagna. Fabregas. Danielson. Silvestre. Clichy. Fabregas. Here's Diaby. Now Nasri. Clichy. Danielson. And Danielson goes on. Fabregas riding the challenge of Nemanja Vidic, finding Walcott, a real misunderstanding of Sagna, and it's Ji-sung Park who pounces. Rooney looking to set Park away, and Sagna looking to claw his way back into it, does so unfairly by holding Park back and earning himself a booking.
Well, he will get booked. Once he's decided to give a free kick, just pulls away at the shirt of Park. Howard Webb's got no option but to book him. Only second of the season for Bakary Sagna.
Second of the game for Arsenal, with Gallas having been booked by Howard Webb earlier. Sir Alex Ferguson claimed after one of the games last season he felt Howard Webb had favoured Arsenal. I'm sure we might be hearing similar complaints from Arsene Wenger after this game, with one or two of the decisions that have gone against them.
It really has been played at a phenomenal pace, this game today.
And a chance here for Nasri again. He's got Vidic to rid himself of, though. Ball in towards Ben now, and Walcott lashes it wide.
Well, at this level, you have to put it down as a chance. He sees the whole flight of the ball, never loses the line of it. I just wonder if he could have just cushioned that, because Evra had turned his back on it. If he cushions it and then smashes it in, it might have been easier.
Well, the pain was written all over Arsene Wenger's face. He knows that his team aren't too secure with just a one-goal lead here.
Listen, 10 days ago they weren't secure with a 2-goal lead here. And in the 90th minute.
And when his team sent blood, Sir Alex Ferguson's team usually get their wishes.
Yeah, business. They're both at it now. Sir Alex is taking a while, but you know, I can't think of anyone who's watching this that can't be enjoying it.
Here's Fabregas looking to play in Theo Walcott.
I mean, it's a fabulous move that, you know, when they get Walcott wide of the full-back and Fabregas gets it in a position like that, because the danger area is in behind.
Fabregas. Danielson. Now Sagna. Back by Gallas to Silvestre.
Well, he likes that one down here, Manuel Almunia.
Could have come off for them.
Free kick
against Walcott.
Free kick being given against Vidic on Fabregas.
Fabregas thought about the quick one, but the ball was still rolling.
Well, again, see, I just think sometimes you've got 2 minutes to go. You're 1-up. You're in a big game. You know, just take the heat out of it. You know, he got a little excited, says there. Take the heat out of it. You know, see, get to half-time at 1-up. But don't rush it. Give the ball away.
Sagna's cross, and it's reached Nasri. Neville goes to close him down this time.
That far side handball of the Arsenal fans. I knew that was going to happen.
Berbatov picks out Carrick, a little prod through that Rooney rescues. Ronaldo up ahead, and he's onside. Clichy was expecting a flag. Ronaldo dancing his way through and cleared by Gallas.
Well, I was expecting the flag as well. But that's what I mean about Arsenal. You know, right at this stage of the game, like that, keep it. Keep the ball. Get to half-time.
Right. Here's Rooney.
Regroup.
And Rooney's played in Berbatov, who is offside.
The linesman gets huge cheers from that far side, because they felt Ronaldo was offside moments earlier. Well, there was a shout I said from the far side. As Nasri flicks this up, you know it's going to come. But, nah.
Ferdinand. Here's Anderson. Now Berbatov. Rooney.
Oh, that's hit the arm. That's definitely hit the arm.
Fallen here though for Ronaldo. He has a go. Evra. Walcott sliding in but winning the ball.
There you go. Now pass it and keep it if you can.
Walcott.
Oh no.
He's lost out. It's Anderson. Away from Gallas, the angle was tight.
Well, I have to say, they do not make it any easier for themselves, Arsenal. But Wayne Rooney asking the linesman about this one here as he dinks it in. There's the right arm comes up. He tries to get it out the way, and he looks round, real anxiety in his face, Gaël Clichy, because the ball travelled a little distance before it got to him.
Rooney. Onside, Dimitar Berbatov. Gary Neville.
Well, yet again, Arsenal inability to just see the half out. Possession given away again, looking for offside again. Flag doesn't go up again. Touch and go, so we're always saying the forward should be given the advantage. And that's not the best ball in from Gary Neville.
Should be the last chance of the half. Only a minute stoppage time was shown.
It's been a great half.
It has been a scintillating spectacle. Samir Nasri's shot deflected in by Gary Neville, the only goal of the match. But United have had plenty of chances to get back in it, and it's been a real contest this. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0.
Long time to go, of course, but those disenchanted Gunners booing the other night aren't now. Jamie Redknapp and Graham Souness are with us, and at the moment, Arsenal back in business. Later today from the Championship at Southampton and Bristol City, 5:15. Followed by Real and Malaga at 7 on Sky Sports Extra, Barcelona and Valladolid on the back of that at 9. And don't forget, football first. Game of the day, first up at 8:25 on Sky Sports 1, followed by Match Choice, and those are the rest of today's fixtures. Graham Souness and Jamie Redknapp are here. Have you enjoyed that?
That's been fabulous. You know, it's two teams trying to play football the correct way. And it could easily be 3-3, Richard. It's a fabulous game of football.
They're not complaining now, are they, these Gunners?
No, not yet. Long way to go. Going to be a tough 45 minutes. You saw what Manchester United did at Celtic midweek. First half they were losing, second half they come back so strong. Arsenal would have to withstand a lot of Manchester United pressure second half. But Arsenal have been sensational. They've done the important things well. They've played high up the pitch. They've got crosses in. And Manchester United, for some reason, look at that. Look at the gap between Vidic and Ferdinand. It's too big. Those two are normally top class. They're defending space. Space doesn't score goals. Players do. And by letting someone like Nicholas Bent, who's decent in the air, should score that opportunity. Again, crosses coming in, uncharacteristic of Manchester United because they're normally very, very good at this area. He twists Gary Neville up for fun. Look at Bentner again. Just
as you say, normally they deal with that. You know, Rio Ferdinand's got under a couple, which is not like him. But also at the other end, I think it could have been 3 each. You know, there's a great shout for a penalty from Manchester United.
It wasn't a great headed clearance either, was it, from which Arsenal eventually scored? Cross again.
Well, there's no need to head it. I think it's he could let that go if he gets a shout from someone.
Pitch has helped as well, hasn't it? I mean, when you play in the pitch is fantastic. The ball's fizzing around. It's class.
If you're a top player, these are the conditions you want to play in. The pitches are all great today, but this, you know, with the rain we've got on it, the pitch doesn't get heavy. It just makes it faster and faster. And if you're a proper player, that's what you want. You want a fast pitch.
Thought Manchester United should have had a penalty. Either of you agree?
I agree.
I think so. Yeah.
Clean sheet is, I think it's about 5-10 yards. Well, I think the problem you have whenever you're a defender, if you go to close the ball, lift your right arm out like that, you are risking giving a penalty away. We saw one earlier in the year with Sylvain Distin that was given against Chelsea. Last year, I can remember a Manchester United game where Michael Carrick was given one against him, Chelsea. Very similar. So that you certainly want to put your arm out, you're risking the penalty against
you. As a defender, you look to make yourself big. You know, part of certainly a fullback's job is to stop a cross coming in. Make yourself big, you tend to do that. And he's been lucky, he's got away with it.
It is 1-0 to Arsenal, half-time at the Emirates. And it's been a really good half as well. Can't wait, second half, next. Sunday tomorrow, 2 more games from the Barclays Premier League. First up, it's Blackburn and Chelsea at 1 o'clock, followed by Fulham and Newcastle, who have won their last 2 now, 3:30. Just a word of warning for Arsenal. Team scoring first in the last 3 matches has not gone on to win. Having said all of that, the way things have been going of late for Arsenal, delighted to be in front by a 1-0 here at the Emirates, and it's been a good 45. Are there some days, Graham, when as a manager you can't say a lot more than just keep going?
Yeah, more of the same. I mean, for Fergie will say, yeah, we've got to do better on crosses. For Arsene Wenger, you know, they made a nervous start, but they've settled down well to it. But this game's not over. You know, the conditions are perfect for a great game of football if you're a passing team, and we've got 2 passing teams there.
Do Arsenal need another goal to win it then, do you think?
I was just thinking that. I believe they do. To win the game, yes. Because I'll be surprised if Manchester United don't score. They will get their chances this game. I think the Arsenal fans at the moment are edgy. There's no 2 ways about it. Manchester United pile a bit of pressure on. The nerves will then start to transmit to the players. And I think they've got to score another goal. But they've got that capability. They've got players
edgy
on the
as
break
well?
quick.
Never mind what transmits. Are they a little edgy anyway?
Of course they are. But it does make a difference when you can feel the fans getting edgy. When you can feel that they're under pressure, it transmits to the players. Well, and this Manchester United team have got players that can hit you on the break.
The players have not seen yet. Not seen Berbatov yet.
We haven't really seen enough of Ronaldo. Rooney's had the odd chance. But on the other hand, Arsenal will know they've got players with pace that can hit you on the break as well, so they can hit you on the counter. So Man United will be aware of that. We've got a brilliant second. This is set up fantastically for the second half.
If you're a Sky Digital viewer, incidentally, and want to enjoy the interactive facility, push the red button on your remote control and follow the instructions. That's where you'll find that menu page. 1-0 Arsenal. Andy Gray and Rob Hawthorne.
Well, so good was the first half. We can't wait for the second half to begin. And as has been said plenty of times at half-time, Manchester United have to go for it, which always makes for a good spectacle, Andy.
Absolutely. Whenever the away side has to do that, has to take the initiative, usually does anyway. Majority of the games they play this United side. But they've scored in every Premier League game this season. No one's kept them out yet. Game number 11 for them. 12 for Arsenal.
And Arsenal have conceded as many in the last 2 Premier League games as they had done in the previous 11. United on the longest unbeaten run so far in the Premier League, 7 matches without defeat. Arsenal haven't won in their last 3 games in all competitions since the victory at West Ham. So asking a lot to hang on to merely Samir Nasri's goal. You can bet that Arsene Wenger will want the extra security of a second goal, even though, as we mentioned earlier, following on from the Tottenham game, 2-goal lead not necessarily secure for Arsenal.
No, I agree with Jamie though. I just get the feeling Arsenal need another one if they've got any idea of taking 3 points here.
Ball's got past Neville. It's Nasri who's pulled it back for Cesc Fabregas. And into Rio Ferdinand, who held his ground but concedes a corner.
Well, he did well, Fabregas, in the end. He just turned their back in this United, but got a 2v1.
Corner taken short to Fabregas. Given back to Nasri, who delivers looking for Nicholas Bentner. Another corner.
He's just been a little heavy with most of the corners. They've dropped in that sort of area. And just been a little long with them all. See if they can get this one in the width of the goalposts. Any ball that drops in that kind of area, you've got a great chance of scoring.
Right between Sanya and Diaby. And here's Nasri. Silvestre. Denilson. Clichy. Here's Sanya. Now Walcott.
And I know they interchange a lot, United's front 4 at times. I'd just like to see Berbatov, second half of United, play a little bit further up the pitch, a little bit closer to Rooney at times. I think he gets detached awfully easily, and an awful lot. Well, if there's ever a typical Arsenal goal, we've just seen a typical Arsenal goal. Pass, pass, pass.
5 league appearances at this ground. Rounding off a fine Arsenal move to crank up the pressure on Manchester United.
Well, you know, there's an awful lot in that, but one of the biggest moments of that move is the run of Theo Walcott. If he doesn't make that run, he doesn't shift Nemanja Vidic, and Vidic gets to close on Nasri. You know, it takes all sorts of components to make a move work, and that was a massive part of it from Theo Walcott, his run off the ball.
Here's Park. Looking to stand one up, Ronaldo! Oh! Not his day.
Well, what a chance to get back in right away. What a chance to put things back to level terms almost, and only have the 1-goal deficit. Takes his time, doesn't thrash at it, comes off his heel a little bit, I feel. Not quite the side of the foot that he wanted, but by his hugely high standards, that's a big miss.
Well, for a man who's been as deadly as he has been over the last couple of years, you expected to see the net bulge then from Ronaldo.
Well, the Arsenal goal, I just asked the lads to count the passes that Arsenal Wenger's side put together. They had the ball for some 45 seconds, put 15 passes together. Stunning goal.
Well, so often their detractors say that they don't get enough goals for the quality of football that they do play, but they're over fussy. But this time, Arsene Wenger's side get their reward. Is it now going to be enough? Clichy nips in. Arsenal could look for a third. Walcott had got into a good position. Vidic, though, stepped in.
No, Walcott had got into a great position, Rob. And I think a Fabregas or a Denilson would have found him.
Instead, they've invited United back onto them now. And Rooney here is looking for Ronaldo, and it's reached him. Got past Nasri. Anderson.
This is a special in the making now, because we've had some fantastic entertainment in this 50 minutes of football. More than we've had in a game like, I think, with the Big Four involved for a long time. And United will not be happy at this. I certainly know a manager down below us who will be furious about the scoreline. But he will also know that the game isn't lost. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Rooney to Ronaldo. Ronaldo, oh, Clichy caught him late there.
Well, that should be a booking. It's got to be a booking.
It is.
Well, he jumps in here, Gael Clichy. It's not very pretty. That's a really poor tackle. Now he's got to stand on his feet the rest of the game, not make a tackle. Otherwise, he could be heading off down that tunnel.
And in a week when Arsenal have complained about some of the challenges on them, that's the last thing they need, especially in a stage where they're leading here. Here's Evra. Sanyu got back. United corner.
You know, at times you just want Arsenal to get back and get into shape. You know, it almost seems as if they're rushing back all the time. They're never back and in place, but they're always trying to get back and get in place.
It's Rooney's corner. And Rooney opting to punch as he clambered above William Gallas. Gary Neville picks out Wayne Rooney. Rooney up against Walcott. And away by Gallas. Diaby. Arsenal fans willing their team to get a third. And Diaby has 3 up to his left here. Bendtner's round the back. Cut out by Anderson.
I think he went for the right ball. He just didn't find Walcott. Because having missed Walcott out, he could intercept it.
Diaby going into challenge.
No, that's unconvincing again. You always tell a goalkeeper, take it at its highest point. That's nowhere near its highest point. He should be going to meet that, Edwin van der Sar. But look at that. He's the lucky boy to get away with that. The United goalkeeper. That could easily have been 3.
Mindful now, Van der Sar, that he's got Ben Foster knocking at the door for the first team place. Here's Carrick. Park. Carrick. In by Rooney. Berbatov's headed down. Park looking to get there. It was decent goalkeeping from Almunia.
Well, this is just going to be like footballing, basketball, you know, today. The second half, they'll have an attack. Somebody else will have an attack. Get the ball, another attack. You just think that maybe Arsene Wenger for 5 minutes would just say to, I would probably say to Diaby, do you know what? Just get your position in front of the back 4 alongside Danielson and just sit there. Just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Let Fabregas go and join the others. Now let Fabregas go and join Bendtner and Walcott and Nasri give the support, but you just sit.
Anderson looking to launch one. Wide.
You know, even if you're William Gallas, why wouldn't you be doing that? You sit. Just for 5 or 10 minutes. It's been such an open game. United still just ahead in the attempts. Level on target.
And it's still a big challenge, this, for Arsenal. It's nearly a year since Manchester United last failed to score in a league match when they defeated Bolton. So Alec Ferguson's side have scored in a club record 34 consecutive league games since then. Here's Danielson. Back by Sagna. Carrick's header.
Well, there you go. They have 5 players, Arsenal, ahead of the ball right now. That's what I mean about they always seem to be getting back into position, not be back in position. Good interception there.
Well, that's bringing it clear after they made life too tight for Ronaldo and Rooney. But Anderson picks it up again. Here's Vidic. Ferdinand. Gary Neville. Carrick sliding it through for Ronaldo. Rooney.
Well, not had his shooting boots on today, has he, Wayne? Just a half a yard he gets here, just works it infield, half yard there, going to take the shot on all the time, all day long.
4 games he's gone without a goal now. Wayne Rooney in search of the century in his career.
It didn't even go for a goal kick, for a throw-in. In fact, that's helped United. Can hem them in here, look at this. United making it really difficult for Arsenal to get out.
He'll be looking for a way out and finding himself surrounded. Neville with the throw. Looking for Ronaldo, who'd sneaked in. Rooney. Samuel just managed to manoeuvre him out of the way. Walcott. Good way to get past Everett, but couldn't keep it in.
Well, at the moment, it's just constant United pressure. Didn't learn a little bit more, should I say, about Arsenal in the next half hour or so.
Ferdinand. Danielson. Carrick. Walcott. Evra. Anderson. Here's Rooney. Given away by Sylvester, it's Gary Neville.
Sorry, Gary, but his goals record doesn't suggest that that was going flying in. Well, that again is another piece of possession. Since the goal, since going 2-0 down, can't fault that.
Pressure still not showing its rewards, and at what stage does the United manager then look to his bench for extra inspiration?
Well, he's got good options, Tevez, Nani, Giggs, to name but 3. They're all capable of changing the game.
Here's Clichy.
You have to think he must be thinking of Park coming off soon. Ji-Sung Park. We talked about his work rate, but he's not exactly what you would call a goal scorer. And what United need as we approach the last half hour is a goal.
Here's Nasri, who's got Arsenal's 2 goals.
Now, you know why the noise is. They're saying, why is he not booked? A deliberate handball. He should be booked.
Here's Anderson. Now Berbatov. Rooney. Neville. Ronaldo. Park. Ronaldo. Neville nearly got in his way.
You talk about going down easily. He could have gone down at any time there, the way the tackles were lunging in at him. What a run that was into the penalty area for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Here's Diaby. Bentner. Nasri. Gallas. Here's Sylvestre.
Lovely football.
Fabregas.
Absolutely lovely football.
Here's Bentner. Walcott. Well, it deserved better from Arsenal.
Maybe a little rush of blood. Theo Walcott, not on his strongest side, he's left, of course, we know that. But again, it's an absolutely sublime piece of football. You're thinking, what's Nasri doing, keeping the ball over that far side? They eventually spring it this side, put a couple of real positive passes together, and then they're really at the heart of Manchester United.
Here's Ronaldo. Gary Neville. Anderson. Here's Evra. Berbatov. Anderson. Carrick. Berbatov. Evra looking to turn away from Sagna. We've got back into position. Berbatov bringing it down for Park. Evra holding it up from Sagna, allowing Berbatov to come in. Gallas striking it against Berbatov. Not deliberate control with the arm. Back in towards Rooney's header.
There would have been a few behind us absolutely furious of heads that in, because they're all thinking handball. Howard Webb's having none of it. I have to agree with him. If he doesn't give it against Clichy first half, then he's not going to give that.
Well, a change is imminent for Manchester United. Rafael da Silva, who started against Celtic in midweek, is poised to come on.
Well, you'd assume, well, I guess we're assuming for Gary Neville. Shorter games, obviously. Gary Neville is.
Rafael da Silva, the young Brazilian.
Yeah, it is Gary Neville.
Neville had just come back from a knock to play today. He's lasted just over an hour, the United skipper, and it's a straight swap.
He'll have been reluctant to make that swap, Sir Alex. You know, you're right back for right back, and you chase the 2-0 deficit. It's not a substitution you really want to be forced into. You'd like to keep your options, all three of them, wide open. But, you know, we're getting to the last quarter on the short end, at the top end of the pitch. And he seems happy enough with the way things are going.
Rio Ferdinand takes over the captaincy.
And looking out there on the touchline, there's no one from Manchester United out there warming up, so no change can be imminent.
Here's Rooney. Carrick. Berbatov. There's Rafael. Ronaldo trying to drag it through. Back again for the Brazilian Youth International.
And he can go forward. You know, one of the things that the change has brought is that in tandem with Ronaldo, Rafael da Silva can go forward. He's a brilliant attacking young fullback.
Here's Vidic. Park. Evra. Here's Park. Evra. Pull behind Berbatov to Nielsen. It got away from him, but second time he finds Walcott.
But that clearance, that's just an example of what I mean. That should be just over the top. The other end of the pitch, instead, is trying to play a little pass. It gets cut out of the halfway line, Rob. It's just little things like that that I think sometimes, and you have to recognise the moment in a game. And sometimes you need to just clear your lines, get yourself set again for the next attack. But they're trying to play a little pass, gets caught, and they're defending a corner again.
Rooney's corner, for which Ronaldo goes, and Almunia only claims at the second attempt at Carrick's feet. One of those which gave Carrick little option but to go for it.
Well, the ball's away. He's there. He does get the ball. Don't make any mistake about this. He doesn't play the goalkeeper. He plays the ball. And just his shin, you can see it just catches him on the side of the face.
Well, he's been booked.
Who has?
Carrick. Shut up.
What for?
He's shaking his head.
Well, honestly, Rob, I'm absolutely amazed that a referee can make that kind of decision. He's been booked for what?
You tell me.
Well, that's a new one. Interesting to read the report on that from Howard Webb. Look at Rio Ferdinand. He cannot believe it either. I mean, I'm sorry, Rob, but, you know, there are certain things that referees get wrong, and, well, I'm sorry, Howard. I don't get that one. I really don't get that one.
Well, Carrick was bemused, so too Rio Ferdinand. I can understand the referee's concern for Manuel Almunia and the wish to get him attention.
There's a lot made of Cristiano Ronaldo going to ground too easily. This is a little example of when he doesn't. Makes a lovely run, and once he's in here, 1, 2, 3. 3 players make lunges at him. You know, he could easily have left his foot in and asked the referee a question. Didn't. Well, Giggs now out warming up a little bit. I guess it won't take too long. Sir Alex wants to get him on. He'll be ready fairly quickly.
Well, Arsenal have Lucas Fabianski, who had to cover anyway for Almunia when he was ill against Fenerbahce on Wednesday, keeping a clean sheet in the process on the bench, but they'll be hopeful that Almunia can continue.
Yeah, he'll be timing it. Don't you bet your life on that. But I've just been having a little look at Gallas, and he's just going around his players in this moment when the ball's just been dead for a while. He's just been going around them all, just saying, listen, this is what we do. You tuck in there, get yourself back, be concentrating, don't be silly. We have a 2-goal lead. You know, that is what he should be doing. And I've just been watching him, and that's exactly what he's been doing. It's given them an opportunity to do that.
Lack of leadership is one of the accusations that has been levelled at Arsenal for their recent malaise. Here's Walcott. Now Fabregas. Ronaldo. Back to Rafael da Silva. Berbatov. Now Cristiano Ronaldo. Struck against Clichy. This is Nasri. Bentner. Arsenal get the throw in.
It did hit Bentner, but I thought it hit him after it went out.
Carrick. Cleared by Clichy. The hold-up while Almunia was treated may just have given Arsenal a little bit of respite. United now looking to rediscover their rhythm. They may need the impetus of a substitution to do that. And Ryan Giggs will be on shortly. Fabregas aiming to free Nicholas Bentner. Done well to hold it up.
Yeah, I don't think the break helped Manchester United. As I say, it gave Gallas a chance to get round the pitch. You don't often get that in a game, that amount of time to get round your players.
Here's Ronaldo. A Clichy an opportunity, and Clichy stole the ball away from him. Here's Diaby. Fabregas. Now Clichy. Lifted off Raphael. Away by Vidic, but only to Theo Walcott. Diaby. Samir Nasri, who's on a hat-trick now. Fabregas. Bendtner. Cleared by Vidic. Sylvestre.
Ryan Giggs down below is coming on any second now.
Well, he's itching to come on. Ryan Giggs, who at 34 is used sparingly these days. So Anderson, the man being replaced. Ryan Giggs, who scored at Celtic Park on Wednesday, his second of the season, but he's still not scored in the league so far during this campaign. He scored in every other Premier League campaign.
It won't be long. He'll play in the central area. He's playing more and more in the last couple of years in the central areas.
Walcott left the ball behind. Evra. Carrick. Raphael. Here's Giggs. Vidic picks out Cristiano Ronaldo, who steps away from Clichy and finds Rooney. Lovely touch to get away from Sylvestre. He's looking for Giggs, who's only just on.
Great header, Gallas. Great header.
He hurt himself in bravely putting his body in the way. Throw-in finds Evra. And here's Giggs. Fabregas looking for Bendtner, and
I was going to say, pick the right ball, Danielson. I was at Fabregas, sorry, and your team have got a chance. Cech knew that, really surprised at that.
Here's Danielson. Diaby. Nasri.
Brilliant body strength, absolutely brilliant.
Hold off Giggs, holds off Vidic as well. And Nasri looking for the penalty, not given.
I think he's hooked him back. My first gut feeling was he gets hold of him. Look at that. It's outside the box there. It's the next one. Where's the shot? There's the shot being grabbed.
Ball across by Ronaldo. Gallas has got it clear in a fashion towards Berbatov. And now it's Danielson. Here's Bendtner. And it's Theo Walcott. Crucially, Ferdinand swipes it away.
Well, I'm not saying they don't learn Arsenal, but you know what? I don't really care anymore. Because this is ridiculous. This is just fantastic stuff. They just throw five up in attack and just go for it.
Good away, a free kick here. Diaby on Berbatov.
Gallas having a go at the referee about what went on up the other end. Not happy about the decision he didn't get with Samir Nasri. Really upset about it.
Well, without Adebayor and Van Persie, it would have presented an interesting dilemma as to who should have taken the penalty.
Well, I was just thinking as Nasri went through, who was the last Arsenal player to score a hat-trick against United at home? I'll leave that with you for a minute. Seeing as you're the ultimate stats man, you'll know the answer, won't you?
Well, I remember the last hat-trick scored against United was by a former Arsenal player. That was David Bentley for Blackburn.
I'll tell you, shall I?
Go on.
Alan Smith. Would you believe Smudger? Working for us at Sky these days. 1991 at Highbury. Hat-trick. But this game's not finished, lads.
Raphael Berbatov. It's Fabregas. Almost slid it through to Walcott.
Yeah, but five of them again, head of the ball.
Giggs, Berbatov, Gallas away. Danielson closed down by Dimitar Berbatov. United still with a bit between their teeth.
Who sees the big four just cancel each other out when they play?
Fabregas. Bender's offside.
Tevez coming on. Another change. Final change for Sir Alex. Well, Tevez for Rooney.
Carlos Tevez.
Well, while that's going on, this is the incident. That's the first tug there, but it's this one here. Look, he has a real chunk of Nasri's shirt, pulling him back there. Referee Howard Webb, what can he see? In fairness to him, not a lot. Not a lot. I mean, Nasri knows himself, doesn't he? You can tell when he gets up, he knows. But Howard Webb's defence there, he can't give that if he can't see it.
Another substitution, this time an Arsenal change. Theo Walcott is the player coming off, and Alex Song replacing it.
Theo being replaced by 17, Alex Song.
And Almunia is still feeling the effects of that earlier clash with Michael Carrick. His numbers being held up even though he's just given a wave to the bench. Is he suggesting he could carry on? Well, they've made the decision for him. Fabianski is going to come on.
Now shaken up with this injury. Spilt the ball. It dropped down and he goes head first for this. Michael Carrick plays it and then you just see his head goes into the shin of Carrick. Shaking him up a bit. Vision a little impaired probably.
Sheets in his last 4 matches for Arsenal, including Wednesday against Fenerbahce and the final 2 Premier League games of last season. Arsene Wenger hoping that record continues and Arsenal can get the victory that will set them back on the right course here.
It just looks like he's put Alex Song on now. It looked like he was trying to indicate on the field that he wants Song and Danielson just to sit. Put Diaby wide on the right. Nasri here on the left, and then as I've thought, Fabregas will be the one to support Bentner now, but you know, that makes perfect sense. It would have made sense to me about 20 minutes ago, but I'm not the Arsenal manager.
Here's Giggs. Evra. Giggs. Here's Song. Now to Nielsen. First thing for Fabianski to do. Here's Carrick. Carling Cup action to come this week. We're back here at Arsenal on Tuesday for their match with Wigan. Sky Sports 2 and HD2 from 7:30. And Tottenham revived under Harry Redknapp taking on Liverpool Wednesday 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 1 and HD1.
I would guess that don't let that clock fool you, Fox. I think there'll be a lot more than the 10 minutes we see left. Long stoppage for Almunia. Plenty of substitutes been made. Don't be surprised to see 5 or 6 up.
Here's Diaby. Now Nasri, Bentner wants it pulled back. Well, Danielson was waiting in a decent position too until Raphael stepped in.
That was brilliant interception there from the young lad. He read the situation brilliantly, Rafael da Silva.
Here's Giggs. Now Park. Well, United with plenty forward. A committed challenge by Sylvestre. Tevez is there, but it's beyond his reach from Ronaldo. Back in by Giggs. Fabianski happy to pick that one up unchallenged. Well, we're in the final 10 minutes and Arsenal are stalked by the spectre of having given away a 2-goal lead in their last home game against Spurs. Can they get a third goal here, though? It's Bendtner. Nasri waiting for his hat-trick as Bendtner has a go.
Well, he does the first bit very well, Nicholas Bendtner, by getting the yard for his shot. But in the end, it was a pretty poor one. Strong side, right foot, expecting to be smashing that in the far corner. Great opportunity for the third. But United have to risk that, getting caught on the break in the search for a goal.
Berbatov. Danielson.
No, that's not bad. 24 attempts in this game. Only the 9 on target, mind you.
Well, even though it will be only United's second defeat of the season, it will be a significant one, leaving with just 1 point from their 3 games away to their big rivals in the so-called Big Four. Defeated Liverpool, draw at Chelsea, and heading at the moment for defeat here.
Looking premature, don't you think?
It's the way the fixtures have fallen that they've gone to all of those places quite early in the season. Kolo Touré ready to come on. Edwin van der Sar has come to make sure a new ball is quickly gained.
Which is just adding even more time to the lengthy stoppage time.
Sure, we're going to see the other ball's now been returned. Here's Raphael. Free kick.
It's a European foul, that, isn't it? You know, we do both. It was definitely a foul you don't often see in the Premier League. I pretty much always see in European football, foot up slightly. Well, if ever Manchester United needed the superstar, he found his range in set plays this season. I don't think he scored yet from a set play, set piece this season yet. It would be now.
Well, he's flattered to deceive with his previous efforts so far today, but Cristiano Ronaldo will give United time to complete a recovery if he can manage something from this. It is Ronaldo, it kicks up and earns United a corner. Giggs with a corner, well met by Diaby. Here's Raphael. Well, Fabianski, very quick thinking to look and set Danielson away, but Raphael
great tackle,
that opportunity.
Beautifully timed, beautifully timed. Super tackle. Arsene Wenger now gets an opportunity to make his change. Kolo Touré coming on. Diaby. Worked his socks off. Only his second Premier League start of the season this, so again, like Gary Neville, short of football.
Well, the Arsenal manager has made all his available changes now. 5 minutes to go, plus plenty of stoppage time presumably for the long delay when Almunia got treated and the various substitutions we've had. Arsene Wenger picked it up, gave it to Raphael, and then the throw was awarded to Arsenal. Clichy to take. Carrick. Here's Evra. In stepped Sagna, and he gets it back from Kolo Touré. Fabregas moving up on the outside of him. Sagna having a go.
Well, with the best will in the world. Bakary, that's ambitious, not happy.
Not in their nature, is it, to run it in the corner? Here's Berbatov. Danielson. Here's Son. Fabregas.
Nice ball.
Touré short of support until Bentner arrives just behind. Here is Nicholas Bentner. Fabregas.
I must ask Arsene Wenger, I'm sure that the words "keep it in the corner" don't exist at their training ground, because most people would be just doing that as we approach the last 2 or 3 minutes, is keeping it in the corners, winning a throw-in, keeping it there again, winning a corner, keeping it there again. But now, Arsenal got to try and score.
It's just not their style, is it? Here's Ferdinand.
Well, we're approaching the time when the bottom fell out of the footballing world here at Arsenal about 10 days ago. And the noise was just as big, and they were striding to a convincing victory against one of the biggest local rivals, and it all ended up in tears for them.
Here's Tevez. 4 in the box for United. Tevez might yet be able to provide them with some service. He's won a corner. So a 2-goal lead in the 89th minute. A familiar position for Arsenal, but one that they let slip here against Tottenham. And United are a team who will persevere, who will keep going to the end. It's Ryan Giggs with a corner. Ronaldo climbs. It's fallen here to Park, who's off balance. Raphael. Ferdinand. Cleared by Song, but only to Carrick. Berbatov looking to rescue it. Here's Vidic. And now Giggs. Goal! And it's a lifeline for Manchester United. And can Arsenal hold on now?
I told you we were in. Well, everyone is looking at the 4th official, and I mean everyone. It was 4 against Tottenham. A big number 4 that came up. It now is a big number 6. Wow.
Steve Tanner suddenly becomes the most popular man in Manchester and the most unpopular man in North London for holding up that board. And Arsene Wenger, whose team's mentality was questioned when they let that 2-0 lead slip here against Tottenham, are facing a similar difficulty here in holding United at bay, because you can bet that United will come at Arsenal now with wave after wave.
Well, I'm telling you this right now, this is the most important 6 minutes of Premier League football that Arsenal are going to play this season.
Here's Clichy. Can that Arsenal backline hold its nerve? Gallas. Clichy. Oh, lovely play from Fabregas. Ghosted away from Rio Ferdinand. Can he take it all the way? It's Nasri. And Danielson strikes it, but the goalkeeper equal to it. No chance for United to draw breath. Van der Sar has got them moving straight away again. Real sense of urgency about the visitors. They want to hit Arsenal while they're vulnerable. United fans just urging that little bit of extra effort now that can draw them back into it.
Well, what a start to the footballing weekend. What a start.
These clashes never dull. Is there to be another twist here? Kolo Touré. The likes of Touré and Song were thrown on by Arsene Wenger to try and hold on to what they had. But now that stunning strike from Raphael has raised the question again against Arsenal. And Raphael wins it from Bentner. Ronaldo. Raphael. Suddenly the smoothness is back for Manchester United. Evra. Giggs. Michael Carrick. Ferdinand. Carrick again. One back by Danielson from Park. Here's Bentner. The two up here for Arsenal. Will it open up for Fabregas? Bentner not looking to him at the moment. He's held on to it and held on to it.
Decisions. I've no idea what was in Bentner's mind. Fabregas made a great run off him. If you're going to go anywhere, as I've said, run it away somewhere safe. Not run it back into trouble.
Here's Ronaldo. Park. Tevez with the ball in. Well taken by Fabianski. They needed their reserve goalkeeper to be strong then, and he was. Pat Rice desperately trying to calm things down.
Well, what is Fabianski doing? His player's injured, right in front of him on the edge of the box, Danielson, and he smacks the ball down the middle of the pitch. Tell me I didn't see that.
Well, he's caused problems here for Arsenal as Gallas stretches to clear. Fabianski getting away with that moment of madness.
Passing it again. Got away with it.
Touré. One back by Giggs.
Keep the ball, run it in the corners. Something I said against Tottenham. It didn't happen, and they paid for it. At the moment, they're getting away with it.
Two up and two back. Fabregas with Bentner ahead of him offside, but Danielson coming from deep, and Vidic stretching to find his goalkeeper. Berbatov helps it on. Ronaldo helps it on. Tevez has Park over to his left and Silvestre keeping him under surveillance. United felt they should have had a foul. Not given though, and here's Nasri bending one round to Nicolas Bentner. Takes on Vidic. He could finish it off here, Bentner.
No chance. Never had an idea what he was doing, I don't think. He's got fantastic support, looks offside, the flag doesn't go up. He must know that Fabregas is there because it goes across him. Now, it's his weak side, he's never balanced enough to take that shot on. Plus, he's tired.
Each team just keeps coming out looking to land the fatal blow. For United, an equaliser might be a fatal blow to Arsenal's title hopes. For Arsenal, a goal would be a fatal blow to United's hopes in this game. 30 seconds to go.
Well, you just don't want this to end. You just don't want it to end.
Here's Kolo Touré. Bentner in the middle, just held on to it, and Evra nicks it away. The referee's allowed an advantage there, and has brought it back for the free kick now.
Well, this is the last attack, if they ever get to complete it.
He's checked the watch, Howard Webb, and that's it! Arsenal hang on for the victory that sets their season back on course. A double from Samir Nasri, enough in the end for Arsene Wenger's team, but they were hanging on by their fingertips once Raphael pulled one back near the end, and they feared it might be deja vu after the Tottenham game. But they have held on for a big, big win. You said it would be a defining point in their season, Andy, and they've held on for the victory.
Well, you can just imagine, Rob, the difference between this dressing room this afternoon and that dressing room 10 days ago against Tottenham. That's what I mean. For them to have gone in again feeling the way they did against Tottenham, I think would have ended the Premier League season. But now they go in back into that dressing room with the cheers of what, 57,000 Arsenal fans ringing in their ears. The joy of a victory against the Premier League champions. And Arsenal have just announced to the rest of the footballing world doubters that they do mean business.
Well, there were plenty ready to raise questions against their title credentials before this, but they put the jeers and the jibes behind them. Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1.
Well, well, well. Not bad, this Premier League, is it? Jamie Redknapp and Graham Souness, our guests, their thoughts in just a moment. Arsenal win it here by 2-1. Elsewhere, it's finished at the JJB. Wigan 0, Stoke City 0. Stoke with just 1 defeat in 5 now. No change in the drop zone. Fulham down, Sunderland down, Newcastle down, Wigan up into 14th with that point. West Ham and City falling. Pompey down, Stoke into 9th now. No change ahead of them until you get to the Champions League places. Arsenal and Manchester United swapping places today. The Gunners 3 points off the top. Liverpool and Chelsea top 2. Later today, it's Southampton against Bristol City from 5:15. Super Sunday, we've got 2 more Premier League games. Blackburn play Chelsea at 1 o'clock. It's Fulham and Newcastle at 3:30. All the reaction to come from here, and we'll be staying with this past 3 o'clock until we've done. If you want Soccer Saturday, then you need to retune to Sky Sports News on the top of the hour. All the reaction from the Emirates comes next on a huge win for Arsenal. Leave the field after they played Tottenham. Delighted today, William Gallas. Here he is alongside Cesc Fabregas, and they're talking with Jeff Shreves.
Cesc, William, just what does that win mean?
You know, it was very important for us to win against Man U because we want to stay for the race. You know, it's very important for us to win every game. And you know, the last few games we draw, we lost. You know, so it was important to win at home.
Was it today a real test of your character today?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's been frustrating now, the last results we have had. But, you know, to win a game like that, we were talking about it the other day, you know, it was vital, you know, to be back on track. And, you know, when you see the team playing, enjoying, and the fans singing, as always, you know, and enjoying themselves, this is the, you know, maybe the best win we have ever had this season.
Was there anything different about Arsenal today? Were you a bit tougher mentally, a bit more resilient?
We are the same now because we beat Man United. We are not better than last week, and last week we were not rubbish as everybody was saying. You know, this is football. As we were talking yesterday, this changes so quickly. You know, so we have to keep going. Another 3 points is one game, and we will see what happens. We need to be focused for next game.
William, it was a fabulous game to watch. Was it tough to play in?
Yeah, it was not easy. I can tell you, a lot of pressure was on our shoulder, you know, and I think it's good to play a game like this, you know, when you play against Man U, when the fun are there, you know, they sing during the whole game, you know, you just want to win for ourselves and for them as well.
Be honest, both of you, when Manchester United scored and that board went up and said 6 minutes of extra time, how did you feel?
You know, in your head, you know, you have to realize that you cannot do the same mistake as you did against Tottenham. That's for sure. It went in our minds straight away. We said we have to learn from that, and I think we did.
Well, today, Samir Nasri was the Barclays man of the match. Chaps, would you pass on the bottle, please?
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They were still trying to score a third in that last 6 minutes for all that, weren't they? They don't change, do they?
No, we're screaming here, you know, Toure, Danielson, you know, just play into the corners. Bentner had a chance to run it into the corner trying to get the third goal. They don't look as if they've learnt anything, but it added, you know, it was great to watch. I mean, it had us, I can't remember us all standing up shouting. I can't remember that.
Yeah.
And it was that sort of game.
You should have been here last Wednesday.
I knew you were going to say that.
But it was a great game of football. It was just, I can't remember.
Brilliant.
Getting excited
Arsenal
about that.
deserve so much respect.
But in a way, Jamie, does Fabregas sum everything up? He said, look, we weren't that bad last week, and we really weren't probably that much better
They were disappointing.
Today.
I just felt that they let themselves down last week. I think the result at Stoke was, I said it before the game, it was purely a consequence of what happened here with the 4-4 game. They'd gone into the Stoke game, their heads down, they felt battered, they felt bruised. But there is no better way to ram the criticism that they've been getting down people's throats by beating Manchester United here today. The feeling that will give them, because we questioned before the game, no Adebayor, no Van Persie, and they still did it. They managed to pull it out. Some of the football for the second goal, that just summed up Arsenal to a T. And that's why that people come here every week, and in midweek, I mean, there was a few booing, a few people not happy at all, but when they come and see that today, they must go and think, I was a bit out of order last week, because they were sensational today. They were brilliant.
You know, the confidence they'll take from that result. You know, they're feeling sorry for themselves, and we spoke about having senior players in the dressing room that can pull you through the difficult times. There's nothing like a victory like that that will give these young lads even more confidence to go out and play. But we've not learned anything new about them. No. We knew they were a fantastic football team. No, that question mark is still when they go to Bolton and Hull and Stoke is still there. That was a game of football today. It was two teams, arguably, well, Chelsea are up there as well, but two outstanding football teams going at each other in a passing and moving game of football. So we knew Arsenal long before today. We didn't need today to tell us they are very, very good at that. But that seed of doubt will still be in their head that can they go and have a war. And I think what they do, they end up falling, they get away from their own game, which is passing and moving, and try and have a physical war with the team they're playing against when it is a war. And they're not very good at that.
I'm sure that's where, for Arsene Wenger, he's probably in the dressing room, and it's nice to do it after you've won. The manager will be able to stand up and say, listen, there has to be a question of almost our attitudes at times. Why we can't go to Fulham and get a result? Why we can't go to Stoke and get a result? Because the difference between, I feel, between the Chelseas and the Liverpools and the Man United to a certain extent, they might go to Stoke and not win, but they don't get beat. I think that's the difference, and that's somehow they've got to win the odd game nasty, or they've got to learn not to lose. But listen, forget that. We've got to talk about what they've done here today. That was fantastic.
You made Samir Nasri man of the match, obviously for a lot more than the contribution, but his 2 goals.
He had everything today. I mean, it's been quite burst on the scene, scored on his debut against West Brom.
Every time he gets a shout there, he just lets it go through and it possibly goes up for a throw-in. Instead, he's headed it back into where, well, he's a forward in a defensive position. You really want to get it away from your goal, not heading it back into where there might be bodies. But you needed a shout.
Needs a second goal for Arsenal to win it. You said at the start of the game, love watching Arsenal.
Yeah.
Is this why? Second goal, does this sum them up?
You know, you've heard the saying, passing and moving, passing and moving. That's what Arsenal are all about. And you can be critical, and I'm sure Fergie will have some of his defenders here. But ultimately, you've got to give Arsenal credit for the way they've moved this ball around. No, not in a rush to go anywhere. They're popping it around, and then someone sees an opening. I think it was Fabregas, and end up slipping in Nasri in. But you know, they're patient. They're patient.
15 passes.
No one's in a rush. See, and the crowd have now become accustomed to them playing this way. They'll accept that. OK, they're winning 1-0 at the time, but this is a great goal. You know, Arsene Wenger will be watching this a few times in the next 24 hours.
You know what I've not seen with Manchester United, though? Any pressure on the ball yet, though? Any real pressure on the ball?
In the small games, pass it forward. You must pass it forward. And that's why the football is so good to watch. That's a great
The maestro Fabregas, as soon as it comes to him, he knows all of a sudden he can inject a bit of pace into the move. Nasri runs off him, Walcott makes another move, and it's just brilliant. Because most players would have tried to maybe slide Walcott in, but he didn't see it, just knew. The weight of the pass for Nasri was just saying, go on in, smash this one in.
Can you remember United having so many good opportunities and not taking? I think Rooney first half, Ronaldo second half, Graham, just after it's gone 2-0.
The first half, I think this is Ronaldo's chance, where it comes to him on the far post. And if you watch this, he actually heals this. He heals this. It comes off his right heel. Maybe this will show you it better. It comes off his right heel here, watch. It's off his heel. I mean, that's a bad miss for someone off his standing. That gets him right back into the game. And I was going to say it would have made it a really good finish, but I think it was a good enough finish already.
Well, United and the neutrals wanted a late goal. It came, and it made it very tense, didn't it? From an unlikely source, it has to be said. Yeah,
to a certain extent, but I'd say don't he look a top player? Really, and as it falls to him, because he's under pressure. Look at Clichy, 22. I thought it was Silvestre at first. They go clear it there.
That's a poor.
Sit down, pure strike, pure.
That was a tremendous advert for our game today. You know, two teams playing it the correct way in an arena like this, and hard to deny Arsenal a victory because, you know, everybody in football, everyone who's got an interest in football, appreciates how they play the game.
2 penalty claims, 1 in each half, 1 to each team. Second half, Nasri went over.
Yeah, I think both could have and should have, really. I mean, he does ever so well, Nasri. He just gets back there, Vidic, and there's a tug. And it was a hard one because I bet Andy said it in commentary and was spot on. As he pulled it, it was difficult for the referee to see it, but there's your pull there, just there.
I don't think it's difficult for if you see from that.
No, but where the referee's position was.
Well, I think he's right on top of it here.
Yeah, he is on top of it, but have a look, you can't see that Vidic's arm there. How can he see that he's pulled him? It's almost impossible. Well, again, he might need help from the linesman.
I think he's had a poor game today, the referee.
This one?
I think this is a penalty as well. I think Vichy's gone to make himself big, and I think in doing so he stuck his arm out, and this is a penalty. How can it not be a penalty? And it's not as if he's not got a good view again. And then if you're going to show it, where he books Carrick
for the foul on the keeper.
On the keeper.
The alleged foul on the keeper.
Yeah. What is all that about? You know, it's there to go for. He goes for it fairly. You know, he knows the rule book, but he doesn't know football, and that's why he's booked Carrick today. And I suggest he's missed 2 Stonewall penalties as well.
Arsene Wenger has been through the ringer these past 5-6 days or so, and not least here today in his own way. As Andy said, the biggest 6 minutes in Arsenal's season, but they did hang on, they have won, they are right in the mix. And here's the manager with Geoff Shreeves.
Well done, Arsene. What sort of lift does that give you and the club?
Well, it of course was vital to win. We said that before the game, but it was a great football game for all overall. I believe that with both teams really going for it, and Man United is a great side, and they created chances. They didn't take their chances, and we took our chances today. And then, of course, when they took the initiative with 2-0 down, we couldn't finish the game off with our counter-attacking, and they scored very late, so we had a little bit nervy 6 minutes in the end. But overall, it was a great performance of our team.
Bearing in mind what happened against Tottenham, a bit nervous, is that an understatement? It
is an understatement because you don't know anymore. Do we continue to go for scoring a goal? Do we keep the ball? And when you play in football in a negative way, you put yourself under pressure. And we tried to score the 3rd goal. It was very close.
Do you think you're a team that just can't do that? You can't keep the ball and play in a negative way?
We are playerish, you know, and that's always, you see that takes always over the cautious side. But that's normal, I believe, that when you're 19, 20, you want players always to play.
What's that like for you on the sidelines, though?
Well, I knew today that was a big game for the future of the team, you know, not of the club, because I didn't feel that, but of the team, yes, because to keep in the race and to know that you can win big games is vital for a young team.
Probably for the first time in your Arsenal career, you've had some criticism from some of the fans. Does it give you pleasure today, that result, that rams that criticism right back down their throat?
Yes, you know, I can take criticism. I'm in a job where you have to accept that, and I do not dismiss criticism, but there's only always one answer to give, is the quality of your performance on the football pitch.
I noticed you've changed out of your suit. Have you been sprayed with some champagne or something in the dressing room?
No, it's the rain in the first half.
OK, too early to celebrate. Well done, Arsene. Thank you.
What of Manchester United, Graham? They've now been on the road and played, so they're out of the way. Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal, it's the big 3 gone.
Yeah.
2 defeats, 1 draw.
Well, they'll see it in a positive light. They've been to what they would regard as the 3 biggest rivals. OK, they've not picked up anything, but or they've got 1 point at Chelsea. But they know they've got them all to play at home. Fergie won't be alarmed. He knows that they've not played badly today.
No.
They've not played badly today. They've had most of the possession, arguably the better chances in the first half.
Do you have to top that to win the title?
Yes, they know that. They know that. And they'll think they can turn them all over at Old Trafford.
I didn't see a freshness about Man United though today, I have to be honest. I didn't see I think the Celtic game midweek took a lot out of them to have to keep going, chasing, working hard to get that draw. And Ronaldo wasn't at his freshest. Took off Wayne Rooney, wasn't at his freshest today.
They both played Wednesday, didn't they? Did Manchester United have to give more against Celtic? I mean, there were
both of them were chasing the game.
Yeah, both of them, mate. No, Arsenal wanted to win here, and they was under pressure from their fans. But I just felt Manchester United, I think Arsenal's character today to come back from, as I said, we've said it, and Arsene Wenger said it himself, the criticism they've had was some of it fair. I have to be honest, some of it fair, because Arsene Wenger, when the stuff he levelled at Stoke in the week, I don't think there was any need for him to do that. He did it, but
well,
now,
we have said, haven't we? I think he was responding to Thomas Sorensen, wasn't he, more than anything else?
But I don't think it's worth bothering about. I didn't even read what Thomas Sorensen said.
Players, isn't he?
You know, it's a small part. Then it just breaks up a bigger argument. They don't need to go there. You know, they're a bigger club, you know, and he's a bigger man. So I think there's just no need for Arsene Wenger to get involved embroiled in an argument with Stoke. You know, they have to get on with it. This was the big game ahead of them. And if he did it to get a response out of his boys and his team, he got it. No two ways about it.
If you want Soccer Saturday, you need to retune to Sky Sports Extra now. We're staying here for another 5-6 minutes or so. Have you ever seen Manchester United miss so many good opportunities, Graham?
I can't recall, but I'm sure they have. I mean, it was, for me, I wouldn't be alarmed if I was a United supporter. I think, you know, they're still playing their football, still creating lots of chances, but right now, you know, they're not going in for them. It was the same at Celtic Park on Wednesday night. Had great chances there. You know, you could put that on the training ground on Monday morning. He would score 8 times out of 10 in that position. You know, that's
unlucky, isn't it?
Gleeson enjoys a fair bit of luck there. Berbatov was quiet today. You know, we spoke about him before the game. Unless he's scoring goals, you maybe can be critical of him because he's not going to work his socks off to make things happen. But
I don't think they created that many chances. I really don't today.
For the good ones.
A couple. I mean, that one there from Rooney. Yeah, good chance, but there's still 3 or 4 men in front of the box. I didn't see gilt-edged chances with people going one-on-one. I thought Arsenal today defended really well. Gallas made a fantastic header second half, kept his team in it. Clichy was unlucky for the... I didn't see that many times. I mean, even the last 6 minutes, I was expecting an onslaught.
I think if Ronaldo had put that one in that we highlighted, where it's just gone past because he's healed it, 2-1 with half an hour to go, it made for some ending to the game. But we got that anyway. I wouldn't be alarmed if I was a United supporter. Or
do you think this season, bearing in mind the clubs at the bottom have got so many points? I mean, in 3 successive days last week, Tottenham who were bottom, they won. Bolton who were bottom, they won. Newcastle who were bottom, they won. It's all very tight down there, so there's a greater spread of points. Do you think that will be reflected also at the top?
Yeah, you'd have thought so. I think Liverpool are certainly better this year. They've started a lot better, and they looks like they're going for the Premier League. Chelsea look better again. Manchester United are obviously going to win their game. So I think it's going to be... I mean, I've got to be careful not selling the product here too much, but you really look at it and you think the top and the bottom should be as good as what it's ever been. I mean, you look at the teams at the bottom are going to be scrambling. 36, 37 points might not be enough to stay in the Premier League this year because Stoker, the 3 teams that have come up look like they're competing, and that's what's going to make this the best league around.
So the title might not be won with as great a number of points as we've seen in previous years?
No, I don't think it will, because they're all going to keep taking points off each other. You know, like I think Liverpool last year didn't win a game against. They didn't win a game against the top 4. This year they already have against the other 3.
United have lost twice. Arsenal have lost 3 times
yeah, so
already.
I think it's going to be as tight as what's ever been. And with the Champions League to come, what's that going to take out of players? But I think, from Arsenal's point of view, they did it without a couple of their big hitters as well today.
Sir Alex Ferguson is with Jeff Shreves.
Sir Alex, Arsene Wenger has pretty much just said the only difference between the 2 teams was that they were able to take their chances. Would you go along with that?
Yes, I think without question, I think that it's the area in which we've let ourselves down. There's no question. The number of chances we've had in the game has been incredible. But it was fantasy football out there. It was like playground stuff. You attack, we attack. And as Arsene Wenger has pointed out, they got the goal that matters. I thought we should have held a kick right in half-time, a handball from Clichy. It was a clear handball. But when you need a little break, and sometimes tight games like that, you don't always get them. Fairness to my own team, that after there was a second goal, their determination and drive to try and rescue the game was fantastic, and we probably deserve something from the game, I think. But a great game of football. Some of the football out there today from both teams is absolutely magnificent, and I don't think I'll see a game as good as that anywhere in the country.
Is it frustrating as a coach when the only thing your team hasn't done is put the ball in the net and you're quite happy with them across the rest of the field? Yeah, well,
we gave away a really bad goal, the second goal. That was really poor defensive play. But in the main, our team performance was very, very good. It was a good game of football. Sometimes you have to hold your hand up and say, well, if you're going to beat with a team, make sure it's someone that's going to play football. And they played good football at times, Arsenal. Not as dangerous as us, I don't think, in terms of attacking play, but nonetheless, they've got 2 goals. We just couldn't get the goal would have mattered. I think if we'd have got, when Ronaldo got his great chance after their second goal, and if he'd have scored then, we would have got something from the game.
Sir Alex, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
You know, you could talk all day, couldn't you? But he summed that up. Fantasy football. It was terrific, wasn't it?
Well, it's not football he'll be delighted with, because it was
well,
you
he
have
won't
a
be delighted
chance.
with the result, but I think he enjoyed the football, didn't he?
No, I think he'll have a go at them about it. That's what I'm saying. I think it was you have a chance, we have a chance. It was end to end, which for us and for everybody here, it was fantastic to watch. But for a professional, you want your team to attack and then be solid, not attack. You have an attack, and it was who can outscore. But it was great to watch. It was great to watch. I think you'll have harsh words for some of his players on Monday morning, and we've loved the game.
That was sensational football match.
Did you agree it was an end-to-end?
Yeah, first moment of the game.
That doesn't
when
please
there was
pros.
a free kick given from the keeper trying to catch the ball, didn't he? When it was a back pass, and we thought, here we go. We need one goal here. And even when the second goal went in, the only thing that was missing was a United goal to give us that last 5 minutes of entertainment. And it had everything. It was a brilliant football match.
Arsene Wenger touched on it. You know, the biggest thing they take from today is not the 3 points. Belief. That belief. And confidence plays a big part in football, and some players need a great deal of it, and the older you get, you need less and less of it.
Yeah.
That young team today, I've just taken a great big wedge about that size back home.
Because you don't get
what you the next game.
You don't get what you deserve in football.
No.
Take it back to a week Wednesday against Tottenham, and even the staunchest Tottenham fan would admit that they got played off the park for long stages of that game. If they'd have won that game, with all the inquest that's happened, they'd have probably got the Stoke and won as well.
Thank you both very much, Jamie, Graham. There's more live football later today from the Championship at Southampton and Bristol City from 5:15. And 2 more from the Barclays Premier League on Sunday. Blackburn play Chelsea from 1. It's Fulham against Newcastle from 3:30. And the last word, of course, at 6:30. Martin Johnson's tenure as England manager starts now. England playing the Pacific Islanders over on Sky Sports 2. What an afternoon. Arsenal came into this knowing that it was a big, big game. They've won it. They're 3 points off the top all of a sudden. No inquests now. Soccer Saturday on the way. Jeff Stelling and the boys after the break. Don't forget, we'll see you tomorrow at Craven Cottage.
More sport, news and views.